On his debut, Jarno Uppbeat wins at Spa.
It's Martinez in Montreal. David beats Goliath.
It's a true underdog story. John Evans wins at Mexico.
And it's Super Sam Corby who takes the PlayStation Championship.
FRA Ronhard takes his first WOR Championship. He is your Xbox champion.
And Jake Benham is a two-time WOR champion.
Stop it! Around the outside of the line, shut up! His contact again, Ronhard is around.
Bethany, surely is going to win here at Abu Dhabi. He does!
16 races across 5 continents. From Brazil to Belgium and Bahrain to Britain. Soon this story starts. Across 3 platforms, hundreds will begin the quest in search of glory and the right to be called a WOR champion. Lights out, and we're racing in Season 12. Good evening, folks, and welcome along to round number 3 of the WOR F1 season here as we arrive at round number 3 in Sochi in Russia. On the weekend where the Winter Olympics starts, we go to Sochi, the home of the 2014 Winter Olympics, as the cars weave their way around the Winter Olympic Park. Well, it should be a fantastic race tonight. Shanaka Clay, currently the championship leader, and we head into this, Dan, having had 2 rain-affected opening rounds of the championship. Are we going to get any rain, perhaps some snow in the Winter Olympic Park tonight?
Hey, I mean, ROC just finished in Sweden today, so I know that they were completely snowed out, so possibly they could ship some over to Russia and we can have some races in that. But yeah, past 2 weeks, of course, started out dry, had a wet period, and then it went back to dry at the end. It's they're parallels of each other, and it'll be interesting to see if we see that again tonight. I know that Russia can spell some rain sometimes.
Yeah, well, it was Nicholas Longe that ended up coming out on top last time out in that crazy race where it was a 3-car fight right to the end between Shanaka Clay and Nicholas Longe, who won it, of course, as well as Tomek Peradzis. Here are the championship standings then. There was a change to the result. Peradzis initially finished second, but if you remember back to, I think it was around lap 25, 26 out of 32, he received a 5-second penalty for pushing Shanaka Clay wide at turn 2. He had to go across the gravel trap through the Tamborello chicane, and he was knocked back from 2nd to 4th as a result of that 5-second penalty. So this is how the championship standings look then after 2 rounds. It's Shanaka Clay top of the pile on 30 World Championship points. Danny Beresney 5 back. He won 1 race, did not get any points last week, in 2nd. On 25, Nicholas Longe also only competed in 1 race. He's on 25 as well after his win. Alvaro Caraton, he sits on 19 points in P4, and Sam Corby is in 4th on 18 after that brilliant podium in the opener in Belgium. Luke Smith is next on 16, Josh Idawu, then Tomek Peradzis, Ulas Ozeldrum and Ruben Pedreño. So championship, very early days of course, Dan, but hotting up nicely between quite a few at the front. There's a good 4 drivers already sniffing around at the front, 4 of them all esports drivers, all very, very strong and established esports drivers, and they're all looking to be fighting up towards the front, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, Shanaka Clay currently leading by 5 points above Beresney and Longe. So he's been in a really great position recently, especially in other leagues as well. You know, he has been really consistent, almost the man to beat. And I think Shanaka Clay in such a good position, you can't write him out tonight. I know that Longe is racing, so maybe we can see some fights between the pair of them two for the early days of the championship fight.
Yeah, well, qualifying has just got underway, so why don't we jump in and take a look at this qualifying session as we arrive here in Sochi for what should be a fantastic race. Let's jump in. Nobody out on track as yet. Oh, that's the wrong button. Silly me. That's number 6. That's for later on. There you go. That is the scene in qualifying. And as you can see, Q1 just getting underway. And as always, just if you're new to WOR, there is 3 qualifying sessions in the top tier: Q1, Q2, Q3. Q1, we lose the bottom 5. Q2, we lose the next 5, and then we have a top 10 shootout for pole position here in WOR, just like you see over at PSGL. So early days then, some of the drivers just biding their time before heading out onto the track. And as you can see with the tyre graphic on the left-hand side, nobody actually interested in going out until now. Primož Miklavšik has gone out onto the racetrack, the first man out there, and he's out there on the wet tyre, which of course you see quite often. Usually they choose Interstand, don't they, because they try and save a set of tyres, but Miklavšik out on track on the full wet tyre.
Yeah, ever the contrarian is Primož Miklavšik, and when he's struggling, of course, on the wet tyres. I'd imagine they are very, very cold at the moment, but he's just trying to get an outlap, put some rubber down on the circuit. He's not going to be on an actual run. He almost goes for a spin, but he's just about held on. There's another car coming out the pit lane. That could be Jake Benham, or it is Tom Martinez actually. Also on a set of the intermediate tyres.
Yes, Tom Martinez then out on the intermediates. There we go. That's the tyres they're currently on. So he's gone out there for a quick warm up, and Jeffrey Ritchie's also out there. You need to be careful through that turn 3, Dan. Very easy if you're not on very grippy tyres to go for a spin and stick it in the fence and end your entire session. But those two taking their time out there. Jeffrey Ritchie, meanwhile, straight out on a set of the soft compound tyres, and he's going to attack this Sochi circuit. Now, let's be honest, Dan. Not a racetrack that most people come to in real life Formula 1 and get really excited for. They go, oh, not Sochi again. It's not been on the calendar since season 9, so it's been quite a long wait to have it back. But it is nice to have it back, a little bit of variation on the calendar. And Jeffrey Ritchie out there testing it now. As I mentioned in the intro, it weaves through the Winter Olympic Park, so it's quite apt that we're going here, given it's the start of the Winter Olympics in 2022. And Jeffrey Ritchie heading out there now to get this session underway on a set of the soft compound tyres. It's a relatively flat racetrack as well. In real life it can be difficult to overtake, but I think with the long straights on the game, you should be able to make a move quite comfortably around here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a cycle we don't normally see. It's nice to see something a bit different. Of course, as you mentioned, season 9 we haven't seen it since, and I'm not too sure about PSGL, but I don't remember it being on there for quite some time. But Jeffrey Ritchie just coming through the last 2 corners now. They're both 90-degree right-handers. He'll begin his lap, the only driver out on a run on a dry compound of tyres. Here he goes now to begin his run down towards the first corner, completely flat through here, and we could see some carnage later on. It's a long run up until you get to the first braking point, which is turn number 2, in speeds of excess of up to 324 kilometers per hour, running it slightly wide on exit. Oh, having to save the car. Expertly done there, but I'd imagine that's going to be a huge dampener on his run there.
Yeah, that's a real sickener for him. Could have easily got even worse into the barrier, but Jeffrey Ritchie just about keeps it under control, and they will probably go and start another lap. He's going to purple the first sector, but no surprise. Luke Smith, meanwhile, much tidier through that turn 2 and 3 section. He's on the medium tyre at the minute. Had heartbreak the other night in PSGL. He won the race in Tier 1, but an infringement on the exit of the pit lane. Some would argue harsh, I mean, given how tight the Monaco pit lane is, but rules are rules. And he was unfortunate on Wednesday night to, bite the bullet and drop down the order. But a shame for him, because I feel for him. He's been through a lot in the last few weeks, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Luke Smith is a driver who he does deserve where he is at the moment. And if you've seen his hours, I'm on his friends list, and you can check how many hours he's put in. I believe for the last 5 game cycles, it's been above 1,000 hours. So he really is a grinder. He does like to put in a shift in this game, and I don't think he is cheating at all. I think the whole scandal has sort of got out of hand at the moment. It's leading to personal attacks against him. I don't want to go too deep into this, as Jeffrey Ritchie completes his first run of 30.3. I'd imagine that'll be beaten. As Luke Smith, he's just coming through the last sector now on his medium compound of tyre. A little bit wayward on the exit on the curbing, but in towards the last 2 corners now. We'll see where he is in comparison to Jeffrey Ritchie. But an invalidation just at the final part of the track. It would have been a 30.5.
Yeah, and also invalidating his lap was Matthias van Erven, who'd just gone out there to start his lap. A late call up for him. It was going to be Sam Carby in that AlphaTauri car, but I've just seen on the Discord there, very late he had to step out, so good to see Matthias Van Erven jumping in, the Dutchman, but not on a particularly quick lap at this early stage. What about his teammate, the pad man, Louis Welsh, just starting a flying lap, and I don't mind referring to PSGL and WOR. I do it in either league each time, because you know a lot of these drivers race in both leagues, and I'll refer to PSGL when I'm in a PSGL stream or in a WR, etc, etc. But Louis Welsh out there, he really was up against it the other night in Monaco, wasn't he, in PSGL on the pad. We know how difficult it is. We thought he might have had damage. It turns out he didn't have damage, just had no pace given he was on the pad, and that's just another example of a racetrack that does not favour the pad, and you know, makes it really difficult. And it's incredible that he can compete at this level despite being on a pad against all these drivers who race with you know, the rig and the steering wheel. It's incredible. Here he is again out there on the track, and we're looking to get out of Q1.
Yeah, of course, Louis Welch once again showing everyone that you don't need a big fancy expensive rig to be one of the top drivers. Maybe you do need that to set a valid time, as Louis Welch has just run wide off the exit of turn number 10, I believe that is, and that is an invalidation for him. So drivers struggling at the moment to actually get runs on the board. We've seen three invalidations so far today, but maybe some of these guys are on runs. Luke Smith decided to come back into the pit lane. I think McLavchich has now come out on a set of the medium compounder tyre. We'll see about him, but I'm not too sure really who's actually on a run.
Yeah, so McLavchich back out there then, and he is now on the medium tyre. So let's see what he can do on this latest outlap. Simon Perigny's also out there further round the track on an outlap as he now begins that final sector of the lap, and it really is a tricky section. I've got to say, Dan, this corner coming up here for Simon Perigny, you know, it's blind, it's off camber. You know, these drivers have obviously mastered it now, but as a commentator, when I ever raced in leagues, I hated it. Horrendous corner, always understeering wide on the exit of the corner and then messing up the line for the next one. One of the toughest on the circuit, if not the calendar.
Yeah, absolutely. Russia does pose a number of challenges that these drivers can easily breeze through, but for the average Joe like you and I, it is a bit tricky for us. But Simon Perigny is on the run up down towards turn number 2, the first braking zone of this track, and he's taking that quite nicely indeed, as now he's onto the long-winded left-hander. You've got to keep it tight to the left-hand side on the curbing to get the cleanest run through here, and then fling it in towards turn number 5. Nicely done for Simon Perigny. He's got a bit of traffic just in front of him. There's an AlphaTauri car and a Williams just ahead. But he kept it valid for the time being. Matthias Van Erven gets out of the way very nicely for Simon Perigny into the second sector, one of the quickest parts of this track. You're taking these corners at high speeds at about 200 kilometers per hour through there for Perigny, and on towards one of the 2 DRS straights on this track. A little bit of a squirm off the exit on the curbing, but now keeping it tight to the right-hand side. He'll drift over to the left-hand side of the circuit around about now to get the widest run in towards the next part of the circuit, the under the bridge chicane type of corner. And he's taking this quite nicely so far. I think Simon Perigny, he could be challenging ahead of Matthias Van Erven, possibly close up to Jeffrey Ritchie.
Yeah, well, here he goes then, round the final couple of corners, 2 90-degree rights remain for Simon Perigny, and he just carries momentum through there, really tidy through the first part. Now the second part, easy to invalidate on exit, but he keeps it within the white lines, crosses the line in 1 minute 30.592 for him. The championship leader has made his way out onto the track, and it was a little bit wide there as we went on board with him through the second part of that corner there, but he is out there and pushing on. Let's see what he can do. We're expecting mid-29s for pole position this evening, and by the time we get through to Q3, as Shinaka Clay goes through the first sector and does a 32.9, which is purple in what we've seen so far, which is no surprise given he is the championship leader at the moment as he flings the car into this next right-hander. Very, very high speed through there, and then into another sweeping left-hander, and past another one of the Winter Olympic venues, and then into another high medium speed right-hander. It's very important to get a good exit off here because you're going down a very long back straight. DRS wide open on that Aston Martin, and you'll lose time all the way down it if you don't get the exit you're looking for. Now this is a really tricky section of the track, easy to outbrake yourself, run wide, but Shinaka Clay clips the apex perfectly. Now through that left hand of the car, always wants to run you out to this curb, which it does for Clay, but now it opens up this off-camber left-hander. Horrible corner and then into the next right, and then in towards the final couple of corners. 1 minute 30.317 for Shanaka Clay to beat. What can he do as he comes up to that final corner? Shanaka Clay rounds it now, up to the line, and he slides straight into the 1 minute 29. Very good opening effort from him. 1 minute 29.8, Dan.
Yep, absolutely. The first 1 minute 29 on the board for today, and only the fourth time that has actually been set. But there is a whole onslaught of cars out on circuit at the moment. The next one is Tom Martinez, but he's invalid on his run. That leaves Jake Benham coming up to the line, I believe, as he goes ahead of Shanaka Clay by just about a tenth of a second. I believe there's an Alfa Romeo of Nicholas Longate just crossed the line now. So they're all putting in times. There's a Red Bull coming out next of Sam McBride, but he was unfortunately invalid. There's Nicholas Mateo just coming through the final sector, but it's his teammate Josh Adowu is the next across the line. He goes third quickest at the moment, so the times really are starting to come on the board, but Jake Benham unmatched at the top, Andy.
Yeah, Jake Benham, good strong effort. We heard from Luke moments before we went live that Jake Benham had put in practice and he had done mid-29s, and that's exactly what he's done there, as Nicholas Mateo goes into 5th place on a 1:30.199. So who else we got out there? Lenny Pinter, is he the car in the final corner? He is, crossing the line now, goes 3rd on a 1:30.156, and Thomas Ronhar is out there as well, after impressing in the very first race of the season. What can he do as he comes around that final corner now, up towards the line, and goes 2nd quickest, 1:29.775, and that transition across to PC continuing to reap rewards, isn't it?
Two Xbox drivers, 1 and 2 at the moment, and he's only 6,000ths off of his rival Jake Benham. Luke Smith is the next one, just coming through the final 2 corners now. At the end of his run, is he going to go ahead? No, he goes 200 slower than Thomas Ronhar in front of him, just a quarter of a tenth off of Jake Benham, just over that by a fraction. So times really are close together. Alvaro Caraton is just coming through the final corners now. I believe Louis Welch from Matthias Vernerven was just in front, as Alvaro Caraton goes ahead of Stahalek, and he's about 400ths off the top of the timing sheet at the moment. So once again, Andy, they are looking all too competitive at the moment. I believe the next one, though, is Tom Martinez.
Yeah, Tom Martinez on the run, but that's very encouraging, very healthy to see here in WR after just the first few runs in Q1. We have just got 1/10 covering the top 6 here in qualifying. Statue Lex popped into 5th place too. Here comes Tom Martinez. The aim for him always to get out of Q1. He's always up against it against a field like this, but he really does perform. And he goes 14th quickest on a 1:30.530. Tom Martinez, if you remember back, pulled off a stunning win last year. We'll never stop talking about it. It was an I was there moment for anyone that watched that race. Tom Martinez winning back in Canada, beating the All-Star Jake Benham on that occasion in the damp conditions, and that shows what he can do, but of course quite often up against it, and he won't mind me saying it, against a field like this he'll be looking to get himself out of Q1, and it's a good opening effort from him, a 1:30.5. 14th quickest, 4 drivers without a time so far: Sam McBride, Primoz Miklasic, Leroy Brown and Louis Welch. We wait for laps from them. Let's go to the teammate of this man, Louis Welch. He started a flying lap and he's out there now. Let's see what he can do. The pad man through that first sector. 32.9 we saw from Shanaka Clay earlier. How's he looking in comparison? 32.8, that's purple through the first sector for the number 95 car. So Louis Welch starting this session well, but has he invalidated it? I think he has, and that's a shame for him. And he's under a lot of pressure now, Dan, going into the final part of qualifying, isn't he?
Absolutely, and his teammate Matthias Vernerven has just invalidated when he was 3/10 up on his previous best. It could have seen him into the next session of qualifying, but it might just all be crashing down for the pair of them if they're both eliminated in Q1. I believe that's the situation that happened in Belgium. Of course, we saw what happened to one of the AlphaTauris of Sam Corby, and what a day it was for him. However, another driver in the bottom 5, Primoz Miklasic, has just begun his run without a time on the board. He needs a lap to go ahead of at least Simon Perigny, who's 8/10 off of Jake Benham at the moment. So there is a wide margin for error for Primoz Miklasic. Not that wide a margin, as he's invalidated his run. He's going to have another one in the tank, but I'm not too sure how confident he's going to be if he's not been able to put a time on the board when the pressure's ramped up. It's going to be difficult for him, but Leroy Brown, he's on a lap and he's got past where Miklasic invalidated.
Yeah, his teammate was just in front of him, Richie, but he actually did invalidate. Oh, dearie me.
Yeah.
That's a big block, that, from Ruben Pedreño, and I'm not a steward, but to me that's a slam dunk. So Leroy Brown will be furious about that from Ruben Pedreño. That was as clear a block as you will see as Chief Benham's retired, but that's a signal for him. Louis Welsh retired then, so he is not going to improve. He's out of qualifying then. Leroy Brown is going to have to go round again and get another lap, and as is McLavsic, who's also invalidated. So there's a lot of pressure on a few of these drivers. Simon Perigny, though, he's on the bubble, but he's out there going quicker at the minute. So let's see what Simon Perigny can do. Can he move himself up the order and move Tom Martinez onto the bubble? Let's keep an eye on him. At the minute, it is Van Erven, McBride, McLavsic, Leroy Brown, and confirmed Louis Welsh out of this section, but Perigny is 4/10 up on his previous best. So at the minute, eyeing in around where Nicholas Longy is in the order. What can Perigny do in the final sector? It's easy to lose it all here in this difficult left-hander, but Perigny all under control at the minute. Now, only just 2 corners left to go. Can he move himself up from 15th position and make himself safe in this section and stop the Red Bull team from biting any more of the fingernails off? He certainly can. He goes 5th quickest, and that is definitely safe with a 1:29.8, Dan.
Yep, absolutely good stuff from him. I believe Leroy Brown's just begun another lap because he's finally been able to post a time on the board, but 12 seconds off the top. Not going to be enough into Q2. But Nicholas Longuet just come through the final sector with only 2 corners left to go. And oh, that could be bad for the Frenchman. I wonder if he's going to come back into the pits or if he's going to go for another. I think he is going to go for one last push lap to try and save his hopes in qualifying. He's got a Red Bull car just in front of him of Sam McBride on an out lap. He's letting everyone by.
Just watching McLavsic there, he was really pushing it through turn 5, but he just about got away with it. His first sector was a 33.0. He really needs to find something special at the minute. Leroy Brown behind him on the road as well, on a lap. These 2 guys, 17th and 19th at the minute. What can McLavsic do in the middle sector? He's currently on the back row. With Louis Welsh out, he will not go any lower than 19th, but he can certainly go higher. McLavsic's then 19th at the minute as the checkered flag falls at the end of qualifying. All drivers can complete their laps. What can McLavsic do? A 104.2 through the middle sector. What is Brown doing? He's way down, I think. Well, I didn't actually see the timing, people. Need to wait and see. Back to McLavsic for now. We will pick up Brown in a moment as we see the end of the lap. Jack Laverty on a 130.1 is looking a bit shaky at the minute with that time. He's out of qualifying. No, he's crashed, sorry. So it's actually Martinez that is on the bubble at the minute. So let's see what McLavsic can do in the final corner. Can he get himself out? Big slide, just squeezes through. Leroy Brown behind him. He has got through. He's gone 8th quickest. Van Erven's in trouble. Let's see what he can do at the end of qualifying. So Martinez is out. McLavsic is back in trouble again after he was immediately in and then knocked straight back out by Leroy Brown. Here comes Matthias Van Erven. Can he now move himself up and knock Longy into some serious trouble here? Van Erven goes 11th. Longy is now out of qualifying unless he can find a special lap. McBride is definitely out. He's invalidated, so we need to pick up Longy. The winner last time out. Is he going out of the first hurdle here? Right up against it is the Frenchman. Needs to get this right. Currently 16th. Pepinter goes quickest. Is Longy going through? Oh, just goes through. Big slide in the final corner. But he goes 11th and knocks out Nicholas Mateo. He's out. McLavsic out. Martinez out. McBride out and Welsh. 4 M's out. And a upside down one as well in Welsh. They're all out.
Yeah, Martinez was just able to improve at the final hurdle, but it was only enough to jump Miklavcic. That concludes Q1 in Russia, and Jack Laverty, I saw his stricken Ferrari car at the exit of turn number 10. It was a really compromising position, probably put some drivers off, but even if he was able to get into Q2, he wouldn't have been able to compete. But it's Lenny Pepinter, a cut above the rest, a whole 10th ahead of Jake Benham.
Yeah, absolutely incredible stuff there from Pepinter at the def in the Ferrari. Gets it done. 1 minute 29.655. He's quickest by a 10th from Jake Benham. Then Thomas Ronhard, Luke Smith, Alvaro Caraton and Ruben Pedreño together in 5th and 6th. Pedreño with that blocking incident. I wonder if that will be investigated. Perigny, Stachulek, Clay, Brown, Longy, Ritchie, Van Erven, Idaho, Laverty. He'll be 15 from the grid after the crash. Out of qualifying, Mateo, Martinez, McLavsic, McBride and Louis Welsh, the pad man. No time for him or Sam McBride. So, disaster for those guys, but qualifying, Nicholas Longy was in big trouble there, wasn't he, Dan? But he just got the job done to get himself through.
He just clawed his way out in the end there, Andy, and it was impressive stuff from Nicholas Longy to find himself, I think, in 11th by the death of it. But of course, Q1 is now over. They got to focus their minds on Q2. No matter where their performance was in Q1, It's all got to go out the window, got to go out your mind, out of sight, out of mind. 14 drivers, for some reason, are competing in Q2.
Yeah, I think because Jack Laverty's incident means he can't compete, so he's out of qualifying. He's locked into 15th place, so he is out of qualifying regardless of what happens. But we do have dry conditions ahead of us. We'll jump in a few moments' time. A few drivers on an outlap. Interesting to see, Dan, what the strategy will be. Will they qualify on the soft tyre? Will they qualify on the medium tyre? It will be an interesting watch, but I think we're going to see a few drivers heading out onto the track in a moment's time. So without further ado, let's jump into the qualifying session. And Nicholas Longuet not messing about this time round. He's one of the first men out there, along with Piotr Stachulek. They're both straight out on the racetrack, and Longuet will not be wanting to cut it fine this time round.
No, absolutely. He's going to try and get some clear air by being the first driver out on circuit. He's got Stachulek just in behind him. Both of these drivers are on the soft compound of tyre, but there are runners on the medium. Like Jeffrey Ritchie, I believe, is actually the only one in his Alpine car. Currently in 5th, he's just going past the medals area, the medals ceremony where they conducted all of that in the Winter Olympics. But I think, yeah, Nicholas Longuet and his Alfa Romeo, winner last time out in Imola, was a brilliant race. And if you haven't already, go back and watch that after this race on the WR YouTube channel. He's got to right his wrongs from Q1, really solidify himself in Q3, because 11th position is not going to be enough for him.
Yeah, let's actually talk briefly about that race last week. If you haven't had the chance to watch, be sure to check it out on the channel. But yeah, it was really good. It was a really tactical battle. We thought for a moment that Longuet had lost it, didn't we, Dan? We were sure he'd lost it by letting those guys through, but he played the long game, saved up the RS and nailed them on the final lap to the post and got the victory. It was a really impressive performance and decisive, and he showed his experience, didn't he, to pull that off and get the move done.
Yeah, absolutely. It was calculated stuff from the Frenchman. Saved up his ERS for the penultimate lap, just so we could go full out attack on the final run. What a race that was. He's just coming up towards turn number 2 now, braking just after the 100-meter boards and swinging it in right, and then right immediately going left. Another long-winded left-hander of turn number 4. Steering as hard as you can, really. Under these high downforce situations, you can't really get much turn in. Here he goes now in towards the second sector. He's on a 32.9 through sector 1. And in towards sector 2 he goes, braking slightly for the right-hander, and then up towards turn number 8 and 9. Here he goes through here off the exit of the corner. He's looking a lot tidier than he was in Q1. Down in towards turn 10 now. A standard right-angled corner. And off the exit to begin his DRS run. Down in towards the chicane. Here he goes. The speeds of excess up to about 320 kilometers per hour for Longuet. He's looking quite nice so far. Similar sector time to what Leroy Brown saw in Q1. So we'll see how he pans out on this lap. Here he goes now through the off-camber left-hander, then swinging it back right. Get on the curbs on exit. A little bit squirrely for Nicholas Longuet's Alfa Romeo. Here he goes now in towards turn number 17 and 18 indeed. Finally to come off the exit at the final corner to cross the line. It's for 29.894.
Shinaka Clay then, the championship leader around the final corner, not as tidy. He goes second, 30.2. Stachulek even untidier than that. Only manages to go third quickest. What have we got from some of the drivers further back? Alvaro Caraton is on a lap at the minute. Who we got a little bit further up the road than that? What about Van Erven? Oh, that's a big slide, and that's a spin for Van Erven in the final sector of the lap. And wow, he was lighting up the rear tyres there, and he was lucky to avoid the barrier. That could have been a big incident for him, but he just about keeps it out of the wall. But that was quite the time to go on board. As Ruben Pedreño on the medium tyre comes around the final corner now. What can he do as he crosses the line? How does his time stack up against the soft runners? It's a pretty decent one. 1 minute 30.4 for Ruben Pedreño. Good effort.
Absolutely, and a fellow medium runner, Josh Adowu, has just come through the final sector now. I think he's about a 10th up on Pedreño, as Alvaro Caraton has gone 3/10 slower than Longuet. Perigny only goes 300 slower than Longuet. So the Frenchman at the top, he's not as secure as he'd hoped to be, as Adowu, I think he lost everything in at that final sector. He goes 7th quickest behind Stachulek, slowest of all runners who have put in a time. But see who we can pick up. I believe Luke Smith in his Alfa Romeo is coming on a lap at the moment. He's just in the second sector now, about to hit turn number 10. Until he gets onto that DRS straight, he's got an Alpine car, Leroy Brown, just in front of him now. So we'll see if he's able to pick up a toe from him, coming down through here, keeping it tight to the right, then swinging it over to the left into the braking zone. Almost braking while your steering is slightly off centre, so easy to lock up through there, but off the exit at the corner and in towards probably one of the trickiest parts of the circuit, the off-camber left-hander where he's sliding the rear through there, but he's managed to take that very nicely indeed, and off the exit of that, he coming into the pits. I don't think he had enough fuel anyways to finish.
Yeah, so Luke Smith then abandons that current lap then. Who else we got out there at the minute? I think Jake Benham's about to start one, so we might pick him up. Let's go then with Jake Benham on the medium tyre. So he's another one that's opted for that first run on a medium set of tyres as he comes across the line now and gets his flying lap underway in that Mercedes car. His teammate Tom Martinez bowed out of qualifying at the first hurdle. He improved at the end of the section, as Dan alluded to, but it wasn't enough to see him out of that bottom 5. Jake Benham then, can he get himself into the final part of qualifying on a set of mediums? That'll certainly be his aim as he goes through that neck-busting turn number 3. And now into the next sequence of corners, and wow, he's really pushing, and in the end he's pushed too hard, invalidated the lap on the exit, and yeah, that's his lap run for now, and he's the only man that was out there on a lap apart from Lenny Pipinter, who just started one in the Ferrari on the mediums. The man, Dan, who was quickest of all in the first part of qualifying, a 1 minute 29.6. So is Lenny Pipinter going to provide us with a shock here in qualifying? Can he continue that form then as he comes round the first couple of corners and then begins the attack of this long sweeping left-hander? We're back in 2015, Roman Grosjean had a massive crash here. Sebastian Vettel in a tangle as well with Danny Kvyat in 2016. There's been plenty of incident through there down the years as Pipinter goes through that first sector on a 32.9, and he's starting pretty well. And Pipinter, who's filling in tonight, looking very strong, isn't he, the Frenchman?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, Pipinter is a Tier 2 driver on the PC platform. Decided to come up to Tier 1 for tonight. That means you won't be seeing him later on in Tier 2, commentated by Jess Games. So here he comes now onto the DRS straight. I saw him purple through Sector 1. We'll see if he's carried this form through. I'd imagine he's not going to be able to maintain that sort of pace, given that he is on a set of the medium compounder tyre. He's done a 4.1 through the second sector. So it says purple, at least on my graphic, but I don't believe that it is actually purple for Pipinter. Slow through that section. He's actually trying to be a bit more conservative than what we saw from some of the soft runners. Of course, on the mediums, you can't go through the limits as much as you can on the red stripe tyre. So here he comes out the final corner, and he goes third fastest ahead of Alvaro Carreton, who set his time, I believe, on a set of the soft compounder tyre. So for Pipinter, that is impressive stuff.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, he really is starting to show some serious pace here. Pipinter, quickest in Q1. Now, there could be an argument that he got the best of the conditions by setting the lap late, but even still, it was an impressive lap in Q1. But that is very impressive. He's 2/10 quicker than our championship leader on the same set of tyres. Lenny Pipinter staking a claim to get through into the next part of qualifying on those tyres. That is a good effort from Pipinter, and he goes 4th quickest. And is there some early shouts here from the chat for a potential Pipinter pole? I wouldn't be surprised, Dan. Very strong.
No, he's looking really competitive at the moment. So Ron Haas just coming. He's actually going to begin another lap. There are other drivers on runs at the moment. Unfortunately, Nicolas Longuet is invalidated on his time. I believe Matthijs van Erpen, whilst we were raving about Pipinter, he went into 3rd position. So he actually displaced the Frenchman. How about we catch Shanaka Clay on run, championship leader. He's just come through the 2nd sector now. We'll see what he can do in his Aston Martin. He's down through turn number 10 and off the exit. Still going out on a set of the medium compounder tyre. Interesting enough from Shanaka. He's looking a bit low on fuel, and I don't think he's on a push lap here because he is looking a bit slower than what he'd normally be. He is pushing, but he is down on his previous best, so this isn't looking to be the greatest time from Clay, but we'll see if he is going to try and finish up this run. If you can find time in the 3rd sector, then I say go for it. If you can take any opportunity to find time, then you should take it, but we'll see what he does. He pulls off indeed to the right hand side, so that's going to be Clay back into the pit lane. Yeah,
well, I think there's 2 runs then on that set of tyres, I think. I don't think he would have 2 sets of mediums in this part of qualifying. He definitely did a lap earlier. There was a 30.2 on them, so He's going out on them again, and 2 laps to beat Pepinter, and he's not done it, the championship leader. So all things pointing to a very encouraging start to this qualifying session for Lenny Pepinter. Let's pick up Ronhar then, who is in the other Aston Martin and is going quickly at the minute on the soft compound of tyre. What can he do as he now makes his way through that tricky chicane and on towards the final 2 90-degree right-handers? Ronhar flings it into the penultimate one now, keeps it just about within the boundaries. 1 corner to go for the Aston Martin driver. Where does he go? He goes third quickest, squeezing underneath the 1 minute 30 barrier. Just under 90 seconds, a 1:29.999.
Well, so that's quite a satisfying time from Thomas Ronhar. He's now the quickest medium runner in this session, and I'd have to guess that could actually see him into Q3. I still say that drivers like
Soft.
Shanaka.
And my screen, was it softs on my screen? What was it in yours?
It's on mediums for me.
Oh, right, okay. Well, that's an interesting one. So, well, okay. Well, we'll have to wait and see what it is on. But I've got him showing up on softs. You've got him showing up on mediums. If anyone, if Ronhar's streaming, if someone can tell us what tyre he is on, I'm not sure if he is streaming, but that would be a real benefit for us all. He's mediums. Okay, he's mediums. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Ronhar on mediums does that lap time as Alvaro Caraton starts a flying lap. And on my screen he's on softs. Just to confirm, is he on softs for you?
Alvaro Caraton, let me get him off. I'm still trying to learn all of the buttons. He is on a set of the softs for me, and he's just coming through turn number 4 now. So we'll see what Caraton can do. He's 3/10 off the top at the moment. Currently held by Nicolas Longue. He's held that since the very start of the session. No one's been able to triumph over the Alfa Romeo driver, but perhaps the Spaniard could be the one to dethrone him, and he is almost a 10th up on his previous best. He got a Haas car of Piotr Stahelek getting out of the way very nicely indeed, in towards turn number 8 and up towards turn 9 underneath the footbridge, where you can get to all of the intersections of this track. I do like how everything is integrated in together, and off the exit of turn number 10 underneath the Fly Emirates banner down onto the DRS straight, keeping it tight to the right hand side. And we'll see him fling it over to the left. He's 3/10 up on his previous best. This could be the quickest time in Q2 for Alvaro Caraton if he's able to pick it up through this final sector. Here he comes in towards now the very off-camber, tricky left-hander, and then in towards the right, where a lot of drivers have seen some struggles, but he's managed to take that very nicely. Now finally up towards 17 and 18, his teammate of whoever it is just in front of him, to cross the line for Alvaro Caraton. It's a 1:29.711.
Yeah, good effort there from Alvaro Caraton. We have seen a 29.6 earlier on in qualifying from Lenny Pepinter. Simon Perigny, he's currently third at the minute. Just a big thank you to everyone in the chat for letting us all know it's about 8-1 in your favour, Dan. He is on mediums according to everyone in chat, which is good to know. So thanks for filling us in, folks, just to be 100% sure. Joe's asking why is there only 14. I then saw your later comment because it's Q2, but there should be 15, but the reason there is 14 is because Jack Leverty crashed out in the first part of qualifying, so that's why we're at 14 and not 15. Simon Perigny then, final corner, up to the line he goes, and that is the quickest time we have seen of this qualifying session so far, whether it be Q1 or Q2. Simon Perigny with the top time goes quickest of all, so a good time there for Simon Perigny. Who else we got out there on a flying lap? Stachulek is on one on mediums, but he's 500s down on his previous best through the first sector, so a lot of drivers trying to hang this out on the medium tyre, and Stachulek is one of them.
Stahelek really trying to opt for this set of the mediums. Other drivers have shied away from it and fitted these set of the soft compound tyre. As here he goes in towards the second sector split. He is up on his previous best, but this isn't enough to see him above anyone else. He's 3/10 off his teammate of Rune Pedreño, so he needs to find a gargantuan amount of time through this final sector to even have a sniff at Q3 if he wants to do this medium compound tyre. But I think Jake Benham is in a similar situation as Stahelek, so we'll see what the Haas car can do as he comes through the final 2 corners and off the exit of the final turn. A little bit of a slide there. He does find quite a major improvement actually, and he's only 4/10 off the top at the moment, so he could possibly see himself into Q3.
Yeah, I think Stachulek's final sector the first time round was really poor. That's why he found so much time. Jake Benham, meanwhile, really needs some improvement. He's heading out of qualifying at the minute. He's 13th quickest as Jake Benham needs a good lap time on these medium tyres. Up to the final corner he goes now, across the line, and he gets through at the minute on the 30.0. There's a few drivers with a time like that, Who have we got in the final corner? Jeffrey Ritchie? No. Is it Brown? It is Brown. Brown in the final corner. Moves up to 5th position. He's going through. Josh Adomu needs an improvement. He's 4/10 up on his previous best. Can he get through? Yes, he goes 6th quickest, 1:29.8 to see himself into the next part of this qualifying session. Pipinta, Pedreño, Ritchie and Luke Smith need improvements, Dan.
Yeah, absolutely. Pedreño is currently in the final sector at the moment, and he's 3/10 up on his previous best. This could see Piotr Stahelek out of qualifying at the moment. He's not on a push lap, so Pedreño could be the man to eliminate his teammate as here he comes through the final part of this track, Sector 3, as Prix gets out of the way of the Haas car in towards the final 2 corners. It's all on Pedreño to see himself into the final part of qualifying, as here he comes on his soft compound of tyre. He goes into 5th, and he's gone into Q3. But what about Pepinter? Pepinter's out. He's decided to retire. What about Jeffrey Ritchie as he comes now through the final corners to eliminate Matthijs Van Erven? He crossed the line, and indeed he does it. Van Erven's out of qualifying.
It's all about Luke Smith then. He's the only man now that can go through. Out goes Jake Benham then. Here comes Luke Smith. What can he do now? Vital that he gets through into the next part of qualifying. Van Erven is out. He's in 10th at the minute. Is he going to get knocked out by Luke Smith? It's going to be so close. Just getting out of the way was a car in front. Luke Smith, heartbreaking PSGL the other night. Thought he had the victory. It was taken away after a pit lane infringement on the exit. Luke Smith, 14th, needs this to get out of qualifying. Can he do it in the final corner? He can. Goes 3rd, 1:29.6. Out goes Van Erven. Out goes Jake Benham. They're joined by Piotr Stachulek and Lenny Pipinta, who was looking impressive earlier on. He's gone from the quickest in Q1 to the slowest in Q2. They're all out of qualifying, and they will not be at the ball for Q3, Dan.
My brain lagged for a second there. I thought Van Erven was about to be eliminated when he was 10th. Of course, I just assumed that we had 15 runners, but of course, Jack Claverty's incident in Q1 meant there was only 4 drivers being eliminated here. But just to make me not look as terrible, Luke Smith decided to eliminate him anyways. And as you said, Jake Benham, Piotr Stahelek and Lenny Pipinta out of qualifying. But even so, the gaps are mental. Only 4/10 off of Simon Prigny, who topped the session. Piotr Stahelek is at the bottom of this qualifying. So really impressive stuff and tight scenes at WOR.
I'll tell you what, the big story, if there's not glitched and it is correct, and there it is, the proof now is I'm getting it on my screen. One driver made it through on mediums, and that could be huge for this race. It could be enormous. Thomas Ronhaar through on the medium tyre. He will start the race on them. He should, in theory, have an advantage over the rest. Is Ronhaar going to be on for a sensational result here? Perigny tops the section, the quickest time we've seen so far. It's a French 1-2, Alele Bleu. It's Nicolas Longuet in 2nd, Luke Smith 3rd, Shinaka Clay in 4th, Spanish 5-6, Leroy Brown in 7th, Josh Oduwo 8th, 9th is Ritchie, 10th Ronhaar on mediums. That is key. Van Erven out on the softs. Benham, Stachulek, Pipinta, none of them could do what Ronhaar did, and they miss out, and they will not be heading through to Q3. What a session, and well done to Thomas Ronhaar. Wow, that has got to be the story of that session, Dan. Ronhaar getting it through on the medium tyre, and I've got to say, he's got to be one of the favourites now to take the victory from that position, because we know how strong it can be to do the alternate strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. Thomas Ronhaar, he just about survived by 100th of a second ahead of Matthijs Van Erven. So really impressive stuff from him. And now being into the final part of qualifying, he can strap on a set of the softs and be on the same compound tyre as all the other runners in this session. So he is looking to be in strong stead coming into the last part of this qualifying. 10 runners taking 12 minutes of this session, and it's going to be the fight for pole.
Yeah, well, we want to know who you're backing, folks, in the comment section. Who do you think is going to get the pole position here in Q3? We've got Luke Smith, Alvaro Carreton, Simon Perigny, Jeffrey Ritchie, Thomas Ronhaar, Nicolas Longuet, Josh Adowu, Leroy Brown, Shinaka Clay and Ruben Pedreño. Who are you backing for the pole position? Dan, I'm going to have to put you on the spot. Go on then, give us your guess. Who's going to get pole?
Yeah, you really are putting me on the spot here.
Tough one.
You know what? I'll go with Thomas Ronhaar. I think the Cinderella story is going to come true in the end. He will prevail on top of qualifying.
I'm struggling with this one. I really am. I've not seen the form of Longuet and Shinaka Clay I expected to see so far. For that reason, I'm shying away from them. I've got a good feeling about Ronhaar, but you know what? I'm going to go Simon Perigny. just to do something different. I'm going Perigny. Good lap in Q2. Can he follow it through in Q3? I'm going Perigny for pole. Let's see what happens. Let's see some of the people in the comments, what they think. But I think it's time to jump in to the third qualifying session of the season here from Sochi. Here it is. 10 minutes to go. The cars are out on racetrack. Who is going to get it? Bailey thinks it's going to be Ronhard. He's even added in a Ronaldo shoe at the end of that one as well. Why not? Let's see who is going to get the pole position. Is Luke Smith, Alvaro Caraton, Simon Perigny, my pick for pole. Jeffrey Ritchie's out there too, and Ruben Pedreño all on outlaps. Pedreño though, not hanging around, Dan. He's in the final sector already, and the Haas driver is keen to get going.
Yeah, it is worth mentioning just before we get into the actual nitty-gritty of qualifying, we are having a lobby restart after this due to issues with Ruben Pedreño and desync, and that's what I actually believe is what happened with him and Leroy Brown in Q1, I believe it was, which could have seen Brown out of qualifying. So Pedreño, I don't think he was at fault there because Leroy Brown wasn't there on his screen. But he's got no other cars to worry about at the moment because he is alone on circuit. He does have just an Aston Martin in front of him. We'll see if he does end up catching as he comes through the long sweeping left-hander around the ceremony area and in towards turn number 5. A quick sequence of corners this is, as he is up to the second sector split. We'll see what he can do by the end of it. I'm having my own trouble with the telemetry here as... Just give me a second, I believe, yeah, I got it up now. Ruben Pedreño is having a good time of it at the moment, and he's the only man who is through into the second sector.
Yeah, Ruben Pedreño, 32.9 through that first sector. Not spectacular, but not poor either. It's a decent effort from him to get this session underway. Let's have a look then. Everyone on the soft tire, as you would expect. Pedreño, what's it looking like through that middle sector beam? A low 1 minute 4 would maybe be the target up to this point. Let's see what it's going to be. Oh, it's a 1 minute 4.0 from Pedreño. What can he do? Remember, the quickest time we've seen so far in qualifying, a 29.625 we have seen from Simon Perigny. What can Pedreño do in his opening lap of this final run as he makes his way now up towards the final couple of corners? Thomas Ronhard, your pick for pole, moves aside and gets out of the way as Pedreño, the Spaniard, attacks the final couple of corners. 1 corner to go, he flings the car in, makes it stick, and it's a 1:29.8, a decent opening effort for him to start qualifying. Longay's on an outlap. Luke Smith, meanwhile, he is going marginally quicker than Pedreño through the middle sector. What can he do as he comes up towards the final few corners? Currently second, 8 minutes to go in qualifying. What can Luke Smith do? I say currently second, that's because there's only been one time, but here comes Luke Smith. Final corner now. Can he beat Pedreño? He can, by a fraction. Luke Smith by 3.5 hundredths ahead of Pedreño.
Yeah, I believe the next driver out on circuit at the moment who is going to be putting in a competitive time is Shanaka Clay, championship leader by 5 points over Nicolas Longuet and Danny Beresnay. We'll see what the Aston Martin driver can do at this point as he's coming up towards the second sector split. And he is up actually on both Luke Smith and Ruben Pedreño. He's into the 103s through the second sector split, so it's looking competitive from Clay. We'll see what he can do as he comes through turn number 15 and 16. One of the trickiest parts of the circuit, and off the exit in towards a double right-hander at the final part of this track. We'll see what he can do. Can he go into the possibly 1 minute 29.6s? We'll see as he crosses the line. It's a 1 minute 29.765 for Shanaka Clay.
Yeah, good effort there from Shanaka Clay. What about Ronhard? He's invalidated. Okay, it wasn't a good lap anyway. He was a 10th down on what we've seen from some of the others. But Shanaka Clay showing his class at the crucial point of qualifying and delivers a big lap. What about Longuet? He's out there and he's set a purple first sector. 32.8 for Nicolas Longuet, who is really on a lap here, pushing hard, looking to deliver here in qualifying. What can he do then? Nicolas Longuet through that middle sector. We'll see in a moment if he can do a low 1 minute 4. He's in the fight for pole. If he can get into the 3s through this sector, he's definitely en route to challenge that top time we've seen from Shanaka Clay so far. Longuet then, look at that top right hand corner. What's it going to be? It's a 103.8, and this is a blistering lap from Nicolas Longuet. This could be well into the 1 minute 29s, perhaps even a 1:29.5 from Longuet, and that would be a special lap for the Alfa Romeo driver. The Frenchman then, with just half a sector to go, 2 right-handers, 2 90-degree rights, as Simon Perigny goes quickest now on a 1:29.6, but I think this man might be about to topple him. Longuet into the final corner. What's it going to be? A 29.5. He blitzes them all, and he goes quickest by half a tenth. Longuet on top, Perigny second, and Caraton in third.
Spectacular scenes there from Nicolas Longuet. You can never count this man out, of course. A week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago actually, in PSGL, of course, at the British Grand Prix, he set that incredible qualifying time of a 1 minute 24.3, I believe it was, or 25.3, I'm not too sure, but he's done that once again. He is on top at the moment. Provisional pole as drivers are gearing up for their final run, coming back into the pit lane. I don't believe anyone is actually on a push lap at the moment. Thomas Ronhaar, no, he's coming back into the pit lane. So, as we get ready for our final part of the session with only 5 minutes left to go in qualifying, Nicolas Longuet leads Simon Perigny and then Alvaro Carreton in third.
I'm laughing at one of the comments here, and it's true. I mean, I said he blitzes them by half a tenth, but in esports, it's very true. That is blitzing them by a margin. Yeah, you're right, Tiger. I totally agree with you, mate. If you win by half a tenth, you've done pretty well. And Nicolas Longuet on top at the minute with 8 times on the board. And just to further your point, there is only, what, half a second between the top 8, which is actually considered quite a bit at this level. So good effort from him. WOR Bell thinks that Ronhaar is going to get the pole position. Come on, folks, tell us who is going to get this pole position. I've gone for Perigny, and I'm pretty happy with my shout so far. I think he's doing reasonably well. Your man Ronhaar not got a proper time on the board just yet, but I'm sure he will, and I'm sure he will compete, because he's got to be one of the favourites for the victory, given he's the only man, if you've just joined us, folks, that's got through on the medium tyres. And while we've got a lull in qualifying with everyone coming into the pits, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone that's tuned in tonight. We really appreciate your support of the channel, your support of the league, and your support of these drivers. So thanks for joining. 177 of you watching the closing stages of Q3 at the moment. And if you're new to the channel, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the WOR YouTube. Myself and Dan are here every Sunday night with all the action from the top tier of this WOR season. And we've had plenty of exciting races already, 2 wet-dry events to open the season. And I'm expecting some more excitement throughout the rest of the season. So be sure to join us for that. And if you're interested in the lower tiers as well, and across all platforms, be sure to subscribe and check that out. We've got constant league racing action for you guys. So if you're brand new here, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the WOR channel. We've got some outlaps at the minute. Luke Smith is on one, as is Thomas Ronhaar. You're picked for pole, and you'll be looking to get as high up the order as he can here, Dan. He knows he's on a good strategy. He squeezed through Q2, so, you know, he's got everything set up perfectly for him. All he needs now is a solid qualifying.
Yeah, I mean, it might not be his target to go for pole, but I'd certainly say in the top 5, he's got one of the best chances to win this race. Of course, being on the alternate strategy is never it never really is a bad thing, especially when everyone is running the main strat. So Thomas Ronhaar being the contrarian to the rest of the grid, and it could work out dearly for him. But he is not the furthest man out on an outlap. It is, in fact, Luke Smith, currently on a 1 minute 29.850, running 5th place behind Shanaka Clay, also on an outlap. And here's Aston Martin. He's looking to improve after heartbreak earlier on in the week in PSGL in Monaco. He's going to be fired up. He's going to have that soul ignited of his, and in towards the final corner to begin his final run of qualifying with just over 2 minutes to go. Here comes Luke Smith down in towards the first corner. DRS open now for him as he flies by into turn number 1 and out of the exit on the run up towards turn number 2. What's his speed? He's going to be about 324 kilometers per hour at the braking point. That's swiftly going to rapidly decrease for him as he's now coming through the long-winded left-hander, keeping it tight to the left-hand side and then flinging it over to the right side of the circuit. Running wide on exit, trying to maximize the track, and he's maximized it a bit too much because unfortunately for him, he has invalidated there.
Now, here's the man they've all been talking about, Thomas Ronhaar. Oh dear, that's not, oh, okay, never mind. That was a bit of lag on my screen. Oh, what a first sector that is. What a first sector that is. Thomas Ronhaar, 32.7. That's quicker than what we've seen from Longuet. And if he can keep that up, he's on for a very special lap. Ronhaar with the bit between his teeth at the minute and really fancying his chances of making a big stamp of authority on this WOR league. Remember, not meant to be in the top tier. Well, he's filling in pretty well here. What can he do from the middle sector? We're getting a bit of lag here. Hopefully that'll clear itself out on the lobby reset we're going to have. Middle sector, oh, 103.8. He is on to challenge the lap time of Nicolas Longuet, the Frenchman. Thomas Ronhaar pushing hard in the final sector in the Aston Martin. Can he topple the Frenchman? as the green machine makes its way up towards the final couple of corners. Two 90-degree right-handers for Thomas Ronhaar. Can he put the Aston Martin onto provisional pole? Can he topple the time of Nicholas Longue up to the line? Watch the clock. He can! 500ths of a second. Ronhaar's on top, but can his teammate beat him? Shinaka Clay, he's finding time as well. Up to the line, can he beat him? Oh, he's a fraction away. 5,000ths of a second from toppling him. That's incredible. Absolutely incredible, Dan. The two Aston Martins separated by a paperclip. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable scenes we are seeing here in WOR. The clock is about to hit 0, so if you're not on a lap, well, you're going to be in a bad position coming into the race. I believe that Nicholas Longue is on a run, but he has invalidated. Nicholas Longue is invalidated at this point in qualifying. Jeffrey Ritchie isn't on a run. What about Leroy Brown? He might be actually on for pole time as he comes out towards the final two corners. Here comes Leroy Brown across the line. No, it's not good enough to go pole position, but he does find himself in 4th place. Who am I trying to look for here? Jeroen Pedreño currently in the 2nd sector, but he has got an Alpine car just in front of him. That is Jeffrey Ritchie, not on a time lap at the moment. What about Pavaro Caraton? No. So it is going to be Jeroen Pedreño next one.
Yeah, good lap. Pedreño's on as well. A 103.8 up to the middle sector. Several drivers have invalidated their final runs. And 1 minute Leroy Brown was on for a shock as Pedreño slides the rear, and that has got to be a couple of tenths left on the table, you would think, for Ruben Pedreño. He's sliding like a rally driver through the final sector. He's thrown it all away, lap ruined, and he's only going to be 8th. Is Josh Adowo on the lap? Yes, he is. But he is down, and what we've seen from some of the others up to the middle sector, no, he's invalidated it. It's game over for him as well. It's looking good for Ronhaar. I think he's got the pole here. I'm not seeing any improvements from anybody. And yes, we can now confirm Thomas Ronhaar has put the Aston Martin on pole position. What a lap from him. He edges out his teammate and championship leader Shinaka Clay by 5,000ths of a second. Aston Martin on top in qualifying.
And crucially for Thomas Ronhaar on the set of the medium compound tyre at the start, he is going to possibly be in the most secure position into this race, but he's got to complete 28 laps of the Russian Grand Prix. It is not all one for him, but he is certainly in a great position. And just to confirm, we are having a lobby restart, so actually everyone's going to have completely fresh tyres to work with in qualifying in the race. So anyone inside the top 10, that's going to be a bit of a boost to their session, but of course they have to start on the tyre that they qualified in Q2 on.
Yeah, wow, what an incredible session. And Thomas Ronhaar edges out Shinaka Clay by the slenderest of margins. Longue invalidated his lap. Brown at one point, even he looked like he was going to take the pole position out of nowhere. Couldn't quite work out, but it's Thomas Ronhaar, the man who you've got to say is favourite for victory now. He's on the alternate strategy, qualified and got through on the medium tyre. And there is your final result for qualifying 3. What a session. Ronhaar on pole. Shinaka Clay a fraction behind him, with Longue within half a tenth as well. Leroy Brown, another star in this session, in 4th, ahead of Simon Predicti, who invalidated his final run and couldn't improve. Luke Smith, he was 6th for the Alfa Romeo team, with Alvaro Caraton 7th, and Ruben Pedreño 8th, an all Spanish 4th row of the grid. Josh Adowo was 9th, and Jeffrey Ritchie rounds out the top 10 with that one on at 30.0. Didn't quite get the lap he was looking for. What a session though. Thomas Ronhaar really is looking strong at the minute, Dan, and you've got to say he will be favourite going into the race.
Yeah, my pick for pole, finally it came true. I'm actually really proud of myself for that one there. But Thomas Ronhaar, impressive stuff from here. I'd go further than impressive. That was sublime performance from Thomas Ronhaar, and from Aston Martin as well, to go 1-2 on the grid. A front row lockout for the boys in green. They are going to be in such a strong position. But of course, in towards turn number 1, you've also got to think about Ronhaar starting on the mediums. He's not going to be as quick off the line as the driver's on a fresh set of soft compound tyre. So he's got to watch out. He's got to keep his wits about him. The job is not done yet for him.
Yeah, and not only that, Dan, it's probably the longest run, or one of the longest runs in Formula 1 down to the first braking point. Obviously, turn 1's flat out, but certainly into turn 2. He's going to be under a lot of pressure. As you say, medium tyre, less grip. But not only that, it's not as if it's Spa or Azerbaijan turn 1. where there's a short run and he can maybe get away with it. You know, it's several hundred metres. He's in serious trouble off the start, and he just needs to keep his head there, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's got to focus on what is right in front of him. Drivers are loading into the session now. We've got about 15 of them in at the moment. I hope, yeah, I'm spectating. So we should be getting on the way very soon. We just got to wait for Louis Welch to set the grid, and then we'll get underway for WOR Russia. I hope everyone, on my end at least, I hope everyone is enjoying. And whilst we're here, I can tell. I think we're both enjoying this quite a lot, Andy.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it because, again, it's great to see some of these drivers, you know, they're making the transition from, you know, Xbox or PlayStation or whatever it may be, coming across to PC and mixing it with, you know, the established, you know, the likes of Caraton, the likes of Clay, the likes of Longy. These guys are established esports drivers. And to see the likes of Thomas Ronhaar and even Leroy Brown tonight, who has been in Tier 2, it's his first appearance in the top tier this season. He's just come straight in. And, you know, even what it said at the end of the second sector, he could have been on for pole, and I didn't see that coming. I just didn't see it coming. I picked him up, and sure enough, 103.8 through the middle sector, a good final sector, and he could have got pole. So to see him fourth, Ronhaar first, mixing it with these drivers, it just shows you there's such great depth, you know, for the esports teams to pick from. And it's so competitive, and it's great to see Ronhaar taking every chance he gets, and Leroy Brown as well. So well done to the pair of them. They're both the stars of qualifying, but you know, Ronhaar getting through to Q3 on a set of mediums, he's got to be favourite from here, Dan, isn't he?
You have to really, you got to put him in the potential slot for a win. Of course, there are other drivers around him as well that you do need to consider. You know, no one is slow on this grid, and everyone is pretty much equal on pace. I'd say. So I'd imagine the likes of Nicolas Longuet and Alvaro Caraton, you know, guys we didn't see too much of in the final parts of Q3, and Josh Dowu as well. They could come into the fray later in the race, as can some of the medium runners who are likely going to start on that compound attire, starting outside the top 10. I'm thinking of Jake Benham, Matthias Werner Irvin, Nicholas Matteo. He was eliminated in Q1. Of course, all those guys, they're going to have free choice of tyre. Flexibility in the strategy around a track like Russia can be key.
Yeah, of course, and it's going to be exciting to see how it pans out. I wonder if we'll get any rain today. I'm still waiting on the lobby updating with the weather, so maybe there was planned to be some rain at some point, because it's still showing as a question mark. We'll wait and see if that rain, if that weather gets chosen in this lobby, and then we'll see what it's going to be. But yeah, I'm looking forward to see how this race pans out. It's going to be very exciting. Thomas Ronhaar, there's just, you know, running out of words to describe his performances. Every time he steps in with PSG or WR out of nowhere, he's very, very strong. And George Morgan there, probably the man with the most knowledge alongside some of these esports teams in terms of these drivers coming through. He's been commentating on this for quite some time. He even says it too. Veloci signed him for a reason. You know, he's a young superstar, very bright future, and we're seeing that here. So impressive. You know, really looking forward to seeing what he can do. But, you know, as you touched on, Dan, it's going to be exciting to see some of those drivers on the alternate strategy coming through, the likes of Benham that missed out or getting into the next part. But I'm interested to see how Ronhaar lines up against some real experience here. You know, the likes of Longy up towards the front, Shinaka Clay joining him in the front row. You know, they are experienced drivers. We saw last week from Longy how he used his experience to win the race in Imola. Will Ronhaar maybe be flustered or outfoxed by the likes of Longy and the clever cool head that he has? We'll have to wait and see. But it's exciting, and that's what it's all about, League Racing. You know, it is all about these young guns coming through and taking it to some of the top esports drivers. And this is where they learn their trade, and this is where and how they get picked up by these esports teams. So epic to see, and well done to Ronhaar, and I'm looking forward to this race. I think it could be an absolute cracker. 27 laps, by the way, folks, ahead of the drivers here in Sochi. If you've just joined us, a reminder, we've just reset the lobby. Ruben Pedreño was having some lag issues. I actually saw a few lag issues on Ronhaar as well in that session. So we're just having a reset, and it just takes a little bit of time to set the grid, etc., and get the cars back out there. Even during this reset, the drivers still must start the race on the tyres they qualified on. So, you know, that won't affect anything in that sense. And, well, we're here. I just want a quick reminder to everyone, if you're new to the channel and you're enjoying what you see, to leave a like on the video, and be sure to subscribe to the action, because myself and Dan are going to be here every Sunday night, 7 PM UK time, to bring you the WOR action. And yeah, it's been an exciting start to the season so far, Dan, hasn't it? We've had 2 rain-affected races, one in Belgium, one in Imola, and it's played havoc with some of the drivers' choices, hasn't it? It's not been obvious to change tyre. I wondered what weather we're going to get here, but by the looks of it from the lobby, I've got a question mark above the cloud, so that tells me it's going to be dynamic weather or preset weather, so we might be expecting some rain at some point. Nope, as I say that, change to sunny, so we're going to get rain. We're going to get sunshine in Sochi.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice and dry. I think we could do with a bit of just a plain dry race. You know, too much unpredictability sometimes could be a bit of a hassle to deal with. You know, my mind can't even handle just drivers on a lap on their own. So I think when there's rain and all these different strategies coming out, you know, it tricks me, it tricks you, it tricks everyone. So I think a nice dry race, that's what we need sometimes, and I think we are going to get that today. So we're just waiting for the drivers to ready up. Louis Welch getting the grid sorted. All 20 runners are in the lobby, but I think finally they are readying up. So hopefully within the next 30 seconds we'll be loading in to the race. 27 laps around this circuit. Equal performance for these cars as well. Thomas Ronhaar starting on pole with his teammate Shinaka Clay alongside him. I'm really damn excited for this one.
Yeah, likewise, Dan. Very, very excited. We're about to get underway for this race around the magnificent Russian Grand Prix circuit. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. It's going to be round 3 of the season here from Sochi, the Winter Olympic Park. And how fitting is it? It's on the weekend the Winter Olympic starts. Let's jump into that now. Well, here we are, everyone. Round 3 of the season from the Winter Olympic Park. It's the Russian Grand Prix here from the Sochi Autodrome. On the weekend the Winter Olympic starts, we get racing here for the first time since Season 9. Russia back on the calendar for the first time since then. Only Monaco and Singapore have been absent for longer. Let's take a look at a racetrack around that Winter Olympic Park then. 3 sectors as always, 5.8 kilometres, 3.6 miles and 18 turns and 2 DRS zones, 1 down that run to turn 2 and 1 on that back straight between turns 10 and 13. It should be an epic Grand Prix. Here's your previous winners. Jake was the winner last time out in Season 9. We've had Syra win, Leopard win, Pinecone and Murso too. And here's one of the highlights from the Russian Grand Prix circuit, that run down to turn 2 where we always get drama. We've got Shinaka Clay battling Antoine Desaluski and Chris Perry all battling away through this section of the racetrack. Absolutely awesome stuff through that high-speed left-hander. And what a battle it was. I'm sure we'll get more of this action tonight. And it was Pinecone battling away with Shinaka Clay all the way to the breaking point, and it was Pinecone that came out on top. But it should be a cracking race. Let's get into it then, as we are here at the Sochi Autodrome. It should be an epic fight for the victory, and we're about to get underway, and we'll see those tyre compounds from those outside the top 10 in a moment. What we do know is 9 of the top 10 will start on the soft tyre. The one man that isn't is the pole sitter that squeezed through into Q3. It's Thomas Ronhaar, and there you can see the yellow banded medium tyres on that Aston Martin. It's an Aston Martin lockout on the front row as we jump into this then, and let's take the opportunity now then to have a look at the tyre compounds from everyone outside the top 10, and everyone except McLavsic is on that medium tyre, Dan, and I don't think we should be surprised, should we?
Yeah, absolutely. They're all starting on a set of the mediums. Interesting from McLavsic to go on a set of the softs, but I guess he's just trying something a little bit different from all the other runners. He'll be quick off the start, and I imagine he'll pick up a few positions if all goes well for him. So with him starting on the softs and then Ronhaar on the mediums, it's actually a 50-50 split. 10 runners on the soft and then 10 on the medium. All fresh due to the lobby restart, so should be a mostly even playing field for the beginning of this race. I'm just excited to see how things get going. As Thomas Ronhaar, he's leading them away, keeping it at his own pace, trying to get some heat into those tyres. If he was in a Mercedes, he'd be activating that brake magic button just to warm up the brakes and warm up the tyres as well. So he comes through the DRS straight. We might see some moves actually down in towards turn 13 later on in the race when DRS has been enabled. It'll be interesting to see who's going to take advantage down there.
Yeah, well, here we go then into that final sector. We're about to get the round 3 of the championship underway. Shinaka Clay, by the way, your championship leader by 5 points over Danny Beresney, who's not here tonight, and Nicholas Longy, who's also on 25 points. They've both won a race each. Beresney and Longy. Shinaka Clay has just been consistent, picking up the points. And that's why he's leading the way at the minute. He's second on the grid in this Grand Prix on the soft tyre. Can he get that launch he's looking for on the long run down to the first braking zone of turn 2? It's going to be pretty exciting as we get ready for the action here at the Sochi Autodrome, the Winter Olympic Park, as the cars come round the final corner and we're about to get the show on the road. 27 laps around the Sochi Autodrome about to get underway as the final few cars are about to make their way into position. Let's pick up Louis Welsh now in the final. Well, let's not actually, because he's ghosting through them. But here we are, the cars all lining up onto the grid. Louis Welsh, the last man into position, the pad man at the back of the grid, and 27 laps are about to get ahead of us. As we can see, the two Aston Martins on that front row. Nicholas Longy in behind them, looking to pounce, but we are already staring at those 5 red lights, and as they go on, we now wait for them to go out, and round 3 here in Sochi is go in WOR. It's a good start then from Shinaka Clay, who immediately looks to try and pull alongside of the run to turn 1. He's squeezed immediately by his teammate, and Longy looks to go round the outside of the pair of them. There's going to be cars in behind picking up a slipstream, but it's still Ronhar. Clay trying to go down the inside. He's got the inside line, and he's got the lead of the race. Ronhar goes wide, tries to retain the place, and can't quite do it. Shinaka Clay is through, or is he? The two Aston Martins side by side through that right-hander. Incredible stuff. Ronhar fighting hard, but Shinaka Clay on the superior tyre gets it done. But look at Nicholas Longy, tucked right in behind the two of them. Can't quite do it, and he stays where he is as Ronhar tries to go round the outside there. Can't quite find a way through. That might invite Longy up the inside of Ronhar. It doesn't quite do that as Simon Perigny gets damage in the background. He's ran into Longy and drops right down the order, Dan.
Yeah, Perigny's going to have to box. That's going to be detrimental to his Grand Prix, having to change the strategy on the fly like that, as yellow flags in Sector 2 prohibits overtaking in this part of the circuit. But it has been the dream start for Shinaka Clay, and now Nicholas Longy could be looking to challenge Thomas Ronhart down in towards the braking zone at the bridge section of the track, and there he goes down the inside of the Aston Martin car, splitting the pair of them, and there it is, Nicholas Longy making the move stick on Thomas Ronhart. Spectacular stuff from the Frenchman. He's going to be hunting down Shinaka Clay in front of him. Further back behind, I saw Luke Smith was having a challenge on Alvaro Caraton, and we'll see how they get on as they come through the final 2 corners to end the first lap. No DRS until lap number 3, so we got to go once more around this circuit. Who is going to take advantage onto the long straight here? I don't believe anyone's going to be close enough for a mover here, Andy.
Jake Benham, maybe he's only 2 tenths behind Josh Adoba going towards turn 1. Alvaro Caraton's also quite close for a move as they get to the braking point. I don't think he is though. They remain as they were, the top 10 across the line. Let's have a look at the position changes then on this opening lap. We've got up 4 Jeffrey Ritchie. What a start from him. His teammate down 3, Leroy Brown down to 7th. Louis Welsh is up 7 places, by the way. Pedreño and Perigny in the pits. We saw why Perigny was in. We didn't quite see why his teammate was in. Sorry, he's not his teammate, why Pedreño was in, but we'll find out at some point, I'm sure, as we keep an eye on these drivers. Who else? Obviously Ronhard down 2 as well, and the drivers that come into the pits making big losses. But Laverty up 4-2. The biggest winner though, Louis Welsh getting 7 places off the start. As look at Luke Smith, he is all over the back of Alvaro Caraton and is really pushing him along and looking to make a move. And will he try and make that move now as they go down the straight towards the braking zone at the end of it? This is where the DRS will be active soon. Not yet after 2 laps. It will not be to lap 3. Luke Smith thinking about it, as was Caraton, but not close enough, and they stayed where they are. Clay leads, Longy and then Ronhart. But Ronhart, he tried his best on that opening lap down to hold station. Maybe tried too hard to fight back against Clay, and it allowed Longy in, didn't it?
Yeah, of course, he still just needs to keep with them. The advantage will come his way later on in the Grand Prix, but we are going to get our first taste of DRS this time by as the DRS detection point, interestingly enough, after the start-finish line. So we're going to see DRS action right away, and surely Alvaro Caraton is going to be the man to look to pounce on Thomas Ronhart. But of course, the DRS train going to come into effect early on here in this Grand Prix. Is Luke Smith possibly going to look onto the back of the Spaniard in towards the first corner, into the first braking zone they go. They all close up together. A concertina effect occurs, but no one makes any moves throughout the pack. But it has allowed for Nicholas Longy to get close to the rear of Shinaka Clay, and I would imagine that he's going to be chasing the back of that Aston Martin throughout the entire second sector, and could possibly try for a move later on in towards turn number 13 as through the first sector split they go. I think following the dirty air is a bit difficult for Nicholas Longy. He's beginning to drop back ever so slightly, and it's allowing for Thomas Ronhart to actually keep with these guys, so we cannot count the Aston Martin out, who lost 2 positions off the start of this Grand Prix. But in towards turn number 10 they go. Who is going to be the one to try and go for a move? Will it be Luke Smith as he gets a superior exit on Alvaro Carreton down in towards turn number 13? But the DRS train once again helping the Spaniard out and actually allows him to close to Thomas Ronhart. But into the braking zone, no move being made.
No moves being made yet, but I tell you what, Luke Smith really is looking very, very quick off some of these corners. He's all over the back of Alvaro Carreton once again. Ronhart, meanwhile, doing a very good job on the mediums to stay within DRS after the first couple of laps, and at the minute is holding firm. He might have lost 2 places off the start, but that's to be expected. But to hold himself in that line is very, very important, and he's doing that at the minute. Only 3/10 off the back of Nicholas Longuet. He's actually closer to Longuet than what Longuet is to Clay, and that is very good stuff. As Luke Smith now gets very, very close, going down the start-finish straight. Is he going to think about a move? Will there be any moves further up? Maybe for the lead of this race. Longuet thinks about it, decides better of it. Luke Smith also tucks in behind in 5th place and decides not to go for the move. Don't know where to look in that 5-car train, but at the minute they're all holding station, Dan.
Yeah, maybe Luke Smith could be looking around the outside of turn number 4 of Alvaro Carreton. He's closing, and into turn number 5, he goes up the inside line. Oh, slight bit of contact between the pair of them. Alvaro Carreton just about manages to stay ahead of his rival there, but Luke Smith getting a bit impatient at the moment. And this is allowed for Jeffrey Ritchie and Leroy Brown, the 2 Alpine cars, to come into the fray. Luke Smith trying his luck, trying to go up the inside and around the outside of turn number 4. Amazing stuff from Luke Smith, and it's a great respect from the pair of them to not give each other any damage, and possibly in towards turn number 11 or turn number 13, I believe it is, the next braking zone at the end of the DRS straight. Will he see himself an opportunity? He's already used up most of his ERS. He's only got 15% left in that battery, but no, there isn't an opportunity for Luke Smith to go up the inside, but he's looking really damn racy here.
Yeah, Luke Smith really pushing hard, and that explains why he's getting such acceleration off some of the corners, because he's draining that battery right up. As we keep an eye on Nicholas Longuet, is he going to think about a move on Clay, or he's just going to keep there at the minute? Let's have a look at his battery, up at 95%. Oh, it's perfect for him at the minute. Shinaka Clay, is he having to drain his to stay at the front? A little, but not by much. 80% still in his pocket. We've got a first pit stop. Luke Smith has bailed out very, very early. And is that going to trigger some pit stops? Meanwhile, Nicholas Longuet round the outside breezes past Shinaka Clay and takes the lead on lap 5 out of 27 away from the Aston Martin driver. So Longuet is now keen on breaking clear. That will be tough, but he decides, I've had enough sitting here, I'm going to go for the move. And look at Ronhart right in there still on that medium tyre.
Yeah, I'd imagine that set the medium tyre is now beginning to come into effect, and it could actually be considered quicker than the soft compounder tyre. Luke Smith's already coming to the pit lane for a set of the mediums. It's his first stop of the day, and we'll see if that actually causes any more action down at the pit lane for some of the leaders. Of course, in PSGL, he managed to undercut everyone he was fighting and ended up winning on circuit. So it could be repeating the same fate as Ronhart. Oh my word, I was on board with the Aston Martin car, almost losing it at turn number 9. He managed to save it, but that's killed his run and the momentum that he had on the back of Shinaka Clay. But scary stuff. Poor Thomas Ronhart. He's just about managed to hold on. But as they come to the end of the DRS straight, Clay gets close, but not close enough. Longuet still maintains his lead.
Yeah, exactly. Longuet still in the lead of this Grand Prix. Ronhart doing well there to stay within DRS despite his moment, and he stays where he is for now. As they all concertina up at the end of that sector once again, and a little bit wide again from Ronhart. He's going to drop a few tenths on the table there, and that's a late call from Longuet. He's coming into the pits to cover off Luke Smith, his teammate. So Longuet right into the pits very early. Where will he be in relation to teammate Luke Smith? That's going to be the key at the start of lap number 6. So Longuet in, both Aston Martin staying out, Ronhart as you'd expect, Clay going long, and coming in as well, Ritchie and McClarsic. So a few pit stops. Where is Luke Smith on the road? That is going to be key. Here he is in the final couple of corners. Will he have managed to jump ahead of Nicholas Longuet? It'll be a tall order given that Luke Smith was at the back of the train and it was second in the train for Nicholas Longuet, or in fact he was at the front of the train in fact. Let's see, here comes Longuet out the pits now. Luke Smith making his way down the start line, and it's going to be close, but it's not enough for Luke Smith. He is behind Nicholas Longuet. So the two Aston Martins do not switch round. Longuet, remember, was first when he pitted. Luke Smith was fifth, and they rejoin the track with Longuet still ahead of Luke Smith.
And meanwhile, up the order, I've just seen Jake Benham try and do what Luke Smith tried to do on Alvaro Carreton. It didn't work on Josh Adowu this time by, but those mediums really coming into effect for the Mercedes driver and also bringing Stahalek into this fight. And off the exit of turn number 10, I think Josh Adowu's feeling a bit vulnerable from the attack, the onslaught from Jake Benham in towards the braking zone. Here they go, Josh Adowu defending to the inside. Jake Benham, he's just got to go even deeper, is now down the inside he goes, and Josh Adowu slight bit of contact. Leroy Brown has also gone off in front. Jake Benham's managed to hold his nerve and get ahead of Josh Adowu. I'm not too sure what happened to Leroy Brown there, but he's tumbling down the order.
Yeah, Leroy Brown's had a moment, he's gone off and he's ruined his Grand Prix. That is a real shame for him, but I've got to hand it to Jake Benham. That was a brilliant move, elbows out there as Alvaro Caraton comes into the pits. Elbows out from Jake Benham, knew he needed to start making moves, and now Stachulek is all over the back of Josh Adowu as well, and they're going to go side by side through the first corner. Josh Adowu just gives him a car's width. Jake Benham gives Josh Adowu the toe to make it even harder. We might be 3 wide into turn 1, we almost are. Stachulek up the inside, hand out the cockpit as he collides with Josh Adowu, and then collides again as he now go through the sweeping left-hander of turn 4, and now Adowu still holding on. Stachulek's going to have the inside line, and he breaks hard and gets down the inside, but still Adowu does not give it up, and that allows Jack Laverty to get involved. And Adowu tries to hang it round the outside. He runs wide off the track and then rejoins, and Laverty's now going to have the inside line. And can he take advantage? Of course he can. The Ferrari down the inside shoves Adowu out, and maybe even Pit Pinter can get involved. Somehow Adowu's fending off Laverty, who he runs wide himself, and now Pit Pinter thinks, I can now pounce on my teammate. What racing here on lap 7 in WOR. Still Adowu in front, Laverty second. Having to back out there was Pit Pinter behind his teammate as they now make their way down the straight. DRS wide open on several cars. Can Pit Pinter get close enough? Laverty round the outside. And Adowu is somehow still defending like crazy, holds him off. Pit Pinter round the outside of 1, maybe even 2 cars. But he can't quite do it, and now Laverty will have the inside against his teammate. Binotto will be pulling his hair out as the 2 Ferraris scrap like crazy here. What a battle! Pit Pinter's through, Laverty down to 7th, and now up the inside goes Louis Welsh, who started last. He's now up to 7th. What a fight this is!
Oh my word, Josh Adowu's pulled the trigger. He's decided he's had enough. He wants to get out of that situation. He's in the pit lane as now the battle still continue on because Nicholas Matteo is seizing an opportunity to look around the outside of turn number 1 and in towards turn number 2 of Jack Laverty. Can Laverty try and defend up the inside? No, he can't. So Nicholas Mateo's made that move stick, and off the exit there, Laverty, when it was looking all so good for him, he just tumbled down the order. He's lost so many positions at this point. I think Tom Martinez could try and take advantage of the struggling Ferrari. Oh no, Martinez has spun on entry to turn 5. Martinez going for a spin, and that's going to put some heat into his tyres, but I imagine now he's out of this fight, and this could be race over for him.
Look at this though, look at this. I missed the Martinez spin because this has happened. We've missed it in all the drama. Thomas Ronhar on the medium tyres has taken the lead from Shinaka Clay. Clay dropping backwards as the soft tyres begin to fade, and Ronhar is on the run here in Sochi. He's taken the lead and he's trying to sprint away at the front. Incredible.
Shinaka Clay not giving it up too easy. He's the only soft runner left out on circuit at the moment, and I imagine he should call it this lap by because he's just stayed out for way too long at this point. Thomas Ronhar will be the leader if he does end up coming in. If you've got yellow flags, that is for one of the blue cars. I think it might be Alvaro Caraton possibly, or it's Primoz Miklavčić who's gone around. Has Shinaka Clay pulled into the pits? Yes, he has. So Clay into the pit lane. Thomas Ronhar leads this race. Jake Benham now takes P2, and then Piotr Stahalek rounding off the podium in P3. So all the soft runners into the pit lane, and this is where we see what strategy works out the best.
Yeah, so Shinaka Clay onto the medium tyre, so let's see where he rejoins in relation to Longy and Smith. Let's go on board with Smith. I think it's more likely he'll be rejoining around Smith. So let's see then. Longy's gone past Shinaka Clay. Will Luke Smith go past Shinaka Clay? Let's see. We'll look to the right-hand side. He has gone past him, and Shinaka Clay drops behind him. He's dropped behind Alvaro Caraton and Jeffrey Ritchie as well. So Shinaka Clay going late, and he might even lose another one here, side by side with Ritchie. He has. He's lost several places. That's 3 cars that's undercut Shinaka Clay, but he's going to try and come straight back immediately at Jeffrey Ritchie. He'll have the inside for this right-hander. Can he get it done? Shinaka Clay on the inside. Gets back through, or does he? Still hanging it in there was Jeffrey Ritchie. Who says you can't race at Sochi? But incredibly, Clay gets it done into the corner. Next up, Alvaro Caraton. He's on fresher tyres. He'll need to make it work. He's lost some ground.
Absolutely, it's not been a great outlap for Shanaka Clay so far, but fair play to him. He's clean in his move with Jeffrey Ritchie. Just pushed him right to the limit there. Saw the opportunity and decided to go for it. He's not hanging about here. Now he's got to close up to Alvaro Carreton and Luke Smith. Shanaka Clay is going to have the advantage later on in the Grand Prix in comparison to the likes of Longuet Smith and Carreton, because he's going to have those fresher tyres and he's already purple through the second sector. So Clay, you can't count him out yet as battles further up the order. I think Nicholas Matteo, early pit stop I'd say from him. I think it's got to be a set of the hards, surely.
Well, it's a very interesting one from Matteo. He's rolling. Is that a two-stop? Oh, it's a two-stop. It's a two-stop strategy for Nicholas Matteo in the McLaren. Well, let's see how that works out. There was no front wing change there, so he's going for the two-stop strategy. Nicholas Matteo, let's see how that works out. And as neutrals, I like to see something different, and that's exactly what Matteo's done. Will it now be softs back to mediums? It looks that way. Let's see how that works out for him, Dan. I'm surprised at that.
He's going to emerge around I think just ahead of Sam McBride in 14th position. He has a time penalty to his name as well, so you can't really put him in favour to win this race. But of course, you've got to try anything and everything that you can to secure the best position. As Alvaro Carreton has managed to catch up to the rear of Luke Smith. He was quickest out of anyone so far in this Grand Prix with the fastest lap on the previous run by. So Alvaro Carreton looking in strong stead at the moment to overtake Luke Smith as soon as he can. Both these guys 2.5 seconds back from Nicholas Longuet, who's really taken advantage of the undercut unlike anybody else. As off the exit at turn number 10, Alvaro Carreton has got about 4/10 back from Luke Smith. I don't believe he's going to go for the opportunity this time by possibly setting himself up to go for a move in towards turn number 1. He can see that the Alfa Romeo car of Luke Smith is struggling at the moment with his ERS management. The blinking red lights, that means he is sub 10% on the ERS battery level. That's going to be 50% power applied. So Alvaro Carreton through turn number 15 and 16 and up towards 17 and 18. He's got Luke Smith just in front of him. This is for 9th position. P2 net gain for him as here he comes off the exit. DRS is going to be enabled very soon. He's already using up some of his ERS and he's closing to the rear. He's got the Uppbeat in the wheel tracks of the Alfa Romeo car. Easy as you like. Where's he going to go? He's got to go to the outside line. Luke Smith holding him to that line, but no opportunity to defend at all. Defenseless even in towards turn number 2's braking zone. This is going to bring actually Shanaka Clay and Jeffrey Ritchie into the fight. So for a net P2, we could see a 4-car battle.
Yeah, it's looking that way, and I tell you what, Longuet has played it beautifully, that undercut. Will he be struggling later on? It remains to be seen. Shanaka Clay, you feel, has to start making some moves here. Carreton has done that on Luke Smith. He does only have 1 lap fresher than Longuet, so to pull in 2.5 seconds will be a tall order. Different story for Clay though, but he needs to start making some progress, otherwise he's going to keep losing time to Longuet, and it will be impossible for him to reel that in as we have this wonderful overhead shot of this racetrack as Stachulek is very close to Benham in the fight for P2 on the road at the minute, as these guys go for the long game on the strategy. But you feel, Dan, and I'm sure everyone in the chat will agree, that Shanaka Clay, if he wants to win this, will need to start thinking about making moves soon. But Ronhart as well, we can't discount him. He's going to be still, I would say, the favourite for this Grand Prix as Luke Smith runs wide. This might be the chance that Shanaka Clay is looking for to try and get ahead of Luke Smith. He's not going to be able to make a move in this section of the track. It'll need to be down into turn 2.
Absolutely, we'll see what he can muster. And of course, Luke Smith is going to have the benefits of the DRS, the luxury even around this circuit of DRS. He's going to get a healthy dose of that in towards the first corner, which is going to help him defend against Shanaka Clay, who's run wide on exit at the final corner. So it's not looking too good for an overtake for Shanaka Clay, and actually could be at the mercy of Jeffrey Ritchie. No, they're all going to maintain their position, so I don't think anyone wants to go for a move. Possibly though, Piotr Stachulek could be in the best position to go for an overtake, because he is only 3/10 back from Jake Benham, as unfortunately our second DNF of the day, Ruben Pedreño, retires in the pit lane. We're not going to see a safety car for that, but it's unfortunate to see that he has not been able to convert a Q3 start, and he's out of this race unfortunately for him. To get back on board with Jake Benham and Piotr Stachulek, I think these two, they're going to go long with their fight.
Yeah, they are, and Benham's giving him the little weave, which means he's going to breeze past him. And it's a little bit of sign language there, and Stachulek goes past Benham. Benham with a little weave to say, I'm not fighting this, and Stachulek goes through. to take second place on the road. But of course, these guys, the top 7, yet to make a stop. They're all on the alternate strategy. Nicholas Longy will be your net leader, but of course, Ronhar in a very strong position on his current strategy. Going mediums at the minute, he will go back to softs, and he will be at the head of the train, fronting the charge on these guys on used mediums or older mediums when he pits for his soft tires. That's a long way away though before that strategy will come into play. So it's still a waiting game at the minute up towards the front. Let's go to Shanaka Clay, who is really, really getting frustrated now behind Luke Smith and Alvaro Caraton. You really feel like Shanaka has to start making some moves here on the likes of Smith and Caraton, doesn't he?
Absolutely, it's just not looking like there's an avenue for him to do that. Because of course, in the DRS train, you simply cannot go for an overtake with the DRS. But Nicholas Mateo, further back behind, he's been able to clear Joshua Doe on a fresh set of the soft compounder tyre. Of course, he's likely going to have to pit at the end of this race, given the fact that they're not going to make it 17 laps on the same set of the soft compounder tyre. So he's got to struggle towards the end of this race, but he's managed to clear his teammate. However, Shanaka Clay is struggling.
Yeah, he has. He's managed to clear his teammate. Let's see how quickly Mateo can get onto the back of these guys then. That'll be the next question. Is he going to breeze up to them and overtake them all with ease and make the two-stop work? I highly doubt it. Unless he's made a mistake on the choice of tyres he made, I'm guessing. But not really, because he came into the pits so early anyway. So the only option would have been to go to hards. So I'm not too sure what that one was all about from him. But we'll see if he reels these guys in and overtakes them all and shuts us all up. But if I'm honest, I don't think many people believe that strategy is going to work this afternoon, the two-stop, as we continue to watch what is essentially a net battle for P2. Nicholas Longy is the net race leader, as Piotr Stachulek is coming in very early as well, so I can only assume he's going to hards unless he thinks the two-stop can work too. I doubt it. Let's see then, as Stachulek makes his way down the pit lane, the Polish driver into the box he will go. What tyres is that going on? That is a set of softs as well.
I think that Stachulek might actually be trying to one-stop this. Of course, later on in the Grand Prix, they're lighter on fuel, so they're not actually putting as much wear into the tyres as they would be at the beginning of the race. So I'd say he can try to go to the end here. It's a very aggressive undercut on all these drivers, and I wouldn't imagine it's going to work out too well. He's got to try anything and everything at this point. He's doing his best to make that. As further up the order, Shanaka Clay's found himself in a better position. He's now only 2/10 back from Luke Smith, so he's beginning to close to the rear of the Alfa Romeo, and of course both Alvaro Caraton and Luke Smith are struggling with the ERS, both of them sub 10%. To be exact, Luke Smith has only 11%, Shanaka Clay with 9, with Alvaro Caraton with 9, Shanaka Clay though with 50%. So in a good position to try and overtake, as is Luke Smith. Pretty close to the rear of Alvaro Caraton. We'll see what he can do in towards turn number 13's braking zone. Are they going to close up to each other, or possibly going to save this battle until turn number 2? No, Luke Smith's going to go for it now, I think. He's backing up. He wants to DRS in towards turn number 1. Shanaka Clay seizes the opportunity. He's trying to go around the outside, and now he's going to try and possibly pull the switchback move on Luke Smith. Can he go up the inside? No. It's all going to continue on out through here, but I'd imagine we could see some 3 abreast action in towards turn number 2, the main braking zone at the end of these starts. Finish straight. So Alvaro Caraton in 8th, Luke Smith 9th, and Shanaka Clay in 10th. Jeffrey Ritchie also following in tandem behind at the moment, as here they go off the exit of the final corner. Is any of these drivers going to bite the bullet and go for the move? I think Shanaka Clay could seize this opportunity. He's close to the rear of Luke Smith. He's going to look to the inside line. Here he goes, Luke Smith. They're 3 abreast, 3 wide into the first corner. Who's going to go for it? It's Clay down the inside line, but he goes up the circuit. Luke Smith goes back up the inside, possibly, as now they're wheel to wheel through turns number 4. The long-winded left-hander. Who's going to come out on top? It's Clay on the inside line for turn number 5. Still wheel to wheel, as Alvaro Caraton could try and go up the inside of either of these guys. I think Clay, yes, just about, is going to maintain. He's going to hold on. He's pulled off the double overtake, and he's into the net P2.
Well, that's a massive, massive move for Shanaka Clay if he wants to win this race. We said moments ago he needs to pick his moment and get it done. That's exactly what he has done. Shanaka Clay up into 8th place, net P2, and now we can see what he can do. As in the background there, Mateo. I seen him in the background have an incident there. I think with Josh Adobe, his teammate, or was it Stachulek? That could bring out a safety car. It has brought out a safety car. That is incredible. It was just in the background of the shot. Not sure what happened. Mateo round. bang, into the wall. We've
Well
got a
done.
safety car, and this is going to really make things interesting. Ron Hart into the pits. Benham will follow, as will Pepinter, Welsh, and Laverty. Is this going to mix up the order? This is incredible. What a situation we have here in WOR. Safety car out, and it's going to force us some early pit stops. Ron Hart onto the soft tire. What will the guys that had mediums on do? I'm sure they'll come in. Ron Hart on his way back out, and they are coming in. Clay, Canaton, Ritchie, the whole lot of them are coming in. So Ron Hart will now lead from Benham and Pepinter. What a shake-up this is.
Yeah, Luke Smith has actually had to stay out on circuit because he double stacked with his teammate, and I do
Tell you
believe
what.
he'll stay.
Sorry, Dan. What a win this is for Statulik. The early pit stop, and then the safety car. Pitted early. He's only had he's on for one lap. It's perfect situation for him.
Absolutely, he's been able to jump Jake Benham, crucially, or quite some way actually, but I don't believe that would have been, no, I think he was ahead already of Jake Benham and behind Thomas Ronhart, so it has worked out in his favour. If that come out a bit earlier from him, he had slightly less wear, but it's not going to be the end of the world for him, as everyone aside from Luke Smith has opted for a set of the soft compound attire. The AI of Sam McBride has fitted on a medium compound, so interesting from the AI there. Sam McBride lagged out pretty early on into the session. That leaves us with 14 runners, and it's going to be we got 2 laps mandatory under safety car. The grid is also pretty spread out at the moment, so probably around about lap 19 we're going to have an 8-lap sprint to the finish.
Yeah, well, this is going to be interesting then. What will Luke Smith do? Like, the feeling is he should have pitted, but has he got something else up his sleeve? What possibly could he do from here? He surely can't hold them all back for 8 laps or so. Let's see if he comes in on this lap, or if he decides to continue out there on the softs or on the mediums. But certainly an interesting strategy if he plans to go to the finish on those. Will he come in and fit mediums and do something different? Maybe, I don't know. But he's certainly, as you would usually say, doing the contrary at the minute. But we'll see. Gives it to the pits. But Ron Hart then now has the likes of Stachulek and Benham behind him, and that's not what he would have been thinking before. This has worked out terribly for the lads that pitted early, the likes of Longay, the likes of Shinaka Clay, Alvaro Caraton, Jeffrey Ritchie. I mean, they have had to come in and put a fresh set of softs on, and it's ruined their race, the guys that started on softs, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Nicholas Longay was net leader at some point in this race. Now he's in 8th. He's all the way down the order, and Luke Smith has actually decided to stay out on a set of the mediums, so he's going to the end on this same set. But when you've got Thomas Ronhart, Stachulek, and Jake Benham on a fresh set of the soft compound attire right behind you, it can't end well. Luke Smith might have ruined his day here, but of course later on, when those softs begin to die out, then he'll be in the prime position to re-overtake them. So at this point in the race, it might not be curtains for him. It just all depends on how he holds them off at the beginning and on the restart. Of course, if he sees himself all the way down the order, you know, outside the top 10, it likely his race over. But if he sees himself still in the top 10, he could still have a chance.
Yeah, he could. I think chances of winning gone, but certainly points possible. It's going to be damage limitation for what remains of this race for Luke Smith, and he'll be praying that safety car stays out for as long as possible. The only other advantage he has is he'll be able to recharge that battery up, because he was certainly blasting through it in the early stages of this Grand Prix. Of course, everyone will have the chance to recharge the battery, but at least he's got something to defend with. As we move through in a minute, lap 17 then out of 27. Luke Smith now your race leader after choosing to stay out. Thomas Ronhart pitted, Stachulek pitted, Stachulek stayed out, but he pitted just before the safety car, worked out perfectly. Jake Benham worked out for him. Basically all the drivers outside the top 10 that started on mediums, it's worked out for them. It's not worked out for the guys that started the race on softs, because they've had to come in again, and it has really reshuffled the order. We've lost Nicolas Patil from this Grand Prix. It looked like a spin as the safety cars coming in this lap. A spin for him in the middle sector that brought the safety car out. We've lost Perigny, McClavsic, Pedreño and Matthias Van Erven. We've got 15 runners left for the remaining 10 laps of round 3 of the WOR PC League here from Sochi Autodrome. Luke Smith on 11 lap old mediums has got one hell of a job on if he wants to win from here, but he's going to give it his best efforts. But it's got to be Ronhart the favourite. Stachulek in there too. Benham behind that. You've got to feel that Ronhart, has got to be careful when approaching Luke Smith. He can't get caught on an outside or get hung out to dry anywhere, because Statulik and Benham will be there to pounce as they come round the final corner then. And we've got a 10-lap sprint to the checkered flag here in Sochi as Luke Smith gets his back underway, and Thomas Ronhaar is right behind him as they start. Lap number 18 out of 27 across the line, and is Ronhaar immediately feeling like he wants to get this move done. He's not going to be close enough on the run down to that first corner, that's for sure. As they approach the braking zone, it's still Luke Smith in front with Ronhaar second.
Yep, absolutely. Louis Welch unfortunately picks up a 3-second time penalty. And now, at this point, surely Ronhaar's going to go up the inside in towards turn number 5, around the outside of turn 4, switches that to the inside of turn 5, and now they're wheel to wheel off the exit, side by side between the pair of them. Alfa Romeo against Aston Martin, inside line now for Thomas Ronhaar. He goes deeper on the brakes and makes that move stick, and I think Statulik could seize this opportunity to go up the inside into towards the second sector. He's made that move stick on Luke Smith. What about Jake Benham, as now this could be the fall of Luke Smith here in his Alfa Romeo, because he did not pit for the soft compound tyre. Jake Benham, he has made that move stick. Contact between them both. Oh my word. Jake Benham just about gets through unscathed. Lenny Papinta now seizes the opportunity. He goes through, and I think Louis Welch could have a bite at the cherry. Luke Smith, his race surely now is going to crumble, but he is still keeping in tow with Jake Benham and goes back around the outside of Lenny Papinta, but surely on the traction it's all lost for Luke Smith. Welch on the inside.
Meanwhile, for the lead of the race, it's all Ronhaar glitching there. I thought for a moment we were going to have a battle through a really strange area of the track, and now Luke Smith has gone all the way back to 14th. He's had a spin, I think. Yeah, he's all the way to the back of the field. Why he stayed out, I'm not quite sure. It's gone all pear-shaped for Luke Smith, and he's going to have to come straight into the box, and his race is run in terms of winning this Grand Prix. It's all happening in the middle of the order though. Tom Martinez, by the way, he's looking really racy behind Jack Laverty as he goes down towards turn 1. Nicholas Longuet in there too. Tom Martinez could be on for some points this afternoon. It's all working in his favour, but he's not close enough for a move on Jack Laverty into the braking zone. And yes, Luke was indeed a sitting duck there. Absolutely no chance, and he can't get it done. But it's Thomas Ronhaar then. He'll be happy that the safety car did not work against him. He was always the favourite for this race, and he continues to be as he leads this race. He's cleared Luke Smith, and it was crucial for him at this very corner to get it done up the inside. The last thing you want to do against a slower car is get caught on the outside and allow the guy behind you, who you're really racing, to pounce. So it was clever driving from Ronhaar. Percentage game, made it work and got the job done. As we keep an eye on Jake Benham as he tries to get the move on Statulik, who's dropped to 7/10 off the back of Ronhaar. So maybe Benham thinks there's an opportunity here. Is he using the ERS? Not really, as we keep an eye on that telemetry. And Statulik is pulling away. He maybe is using a little bit more as they go down towards the braking zone at the end of that long straight. It's Ronhaar in the lead, Statulik second, and Benham in third, as Jack Laverty gets very close to Nicholas Longuet, but not close enough.
The DRS will be reactivated at the next start of the lap, and we're going to see that down in towards turn number 2 as Jake Benham goes deep on the brakes, trying to close the Piotr Statulik, trying to push him offline possibly, and he's actually losing quite a lot of time. And if he's not within a second of Ronhaar in towards the detection point, then that's going to be all over for him. Jake Benham's going to have the DRS. Statulik will not, as off the exit at the final corner, I believe. Yes, he has just about snuck within a second of Thomas Ronhaar, but Jake Benham is going to be closer with the slipstream and the DRS. Can he seize the opportunity as Alvaro Carrington unfortunately retires in the pit lane? As here they go down into the braking zone at turn number 2. No moves being made, and the DRS train is going to begin to form.
Look at Benham. He's really gaining. He's actually tucked right in the slipstream, hugging that inside corner behind Statulik, and he's now right there. But the problem, as we keep touching on, the DRS so powerful, makes it really difficult for Benham to make any kind of moves. But you can certainly see that Ronhaar is putting the pressure on Statulik, telling him, come on then, stick with me if you can. And Benham behind him, really intent on doing the same and asking questions of the Polish driver. Let's take another look at the telemetry. Jake Benham, 62%. What about Statulik? What has he got at the minute? 30%. He's draining that battery, and now he's a little bit wide, and now Benham can maybe seize an opportunity here. A little bit squirrely on the curb there with Statulik, and Benham is gaining and gaining and gaining down the straight, but he won't be close enough though. By the time they get to the braking zone, he stays where he is, but Benham is getting ready to set this up and begin a 7-lap assault on the back of Thomas Ronhaar. The champion, of course, Jake Benham from last season. It's been a bit of a shaky start this time round, a patchy start, but he's really looking to take off now and get ahead of Statulik. perhaps at the start of lap 21. Statue Lake knows he's in trouble here as Benham gets right up behind the Haas car. Statue Lake barely within DRS range of Ron Hart in front. He will still get it, but Benham is right behind him and he fancies a chance in making the move going down to turn 1. Is Benham going to make that decisive move? Is he going to go for the lunge? Statue Lake gaining like crazy down the straight, and Benham's left frustrated once again. But here we go now, through 2 and 3. Is he going to be close enough this time? As he heads through that high speed turn 4, doesn't look like it. Statue Lake doing just enough to stay within range.
Yeah, and actually, he's managed to catch back up to Thomas Ronhart, so they're all going to bunch together on circuit. Leroy Brown, unfortunately, with a 3-second time penalty added to his race time. This circuit always soft on the track limit. As through the second sector, Jake Benham closer than he has been before. The dirty air is not going to be helpful through the second sector, where it is all about the high downforce corners, but possibly down in towards turn number 13, I believe the braking zone is, or it might actually be turn number 12. No matter the corner, it is going to be important for Jake Benham. He uses a bit of his ERS off the exit of the corner, and he's going to close to the rear of Stahalek's Haas. Here he goes. Which way is he going to look? Is he even going to go for the move this time by? No, he's not. But he does have a half look, and Stahalek almost goes into the back of Thomas Ronhart. So feeling the pressure definitely from Jake Benham is not helping his case. Lenny Papinta also involved in this fight. Oh, Jake Benham, he's getting so close to the rear of Piotr Stahalek. And I think surely he's going to set the move up at the start of lap number 22. Whether or not Lenny Papinta can get through as well, that will remain to be seen, as here they go off the exit of the final turn to begin lap number 22. Jake Benham closer than he has been before. Piotr Stahalek leaves the inside open for him as they come through turn number 1. He's made that move, stick up the inside in towards turn number 1 and into the braking zone of turn number 2. Stahalek still fighting this around the outside. Jake Benham had to maintain defensive lines, but no, it is not going to be enough for Stahalek. Surely the battle with Jake Benham is over. He's got to let him get on, but he is still closing to the rear of the Mercedes car. Thomas Ronhart beginning to escape away up the road.
Look at this.
No.
Oh, sorry. Look at that free wide there between Jeffrey Ritchie, Josh Adomu and Tom Martinez going into turn 5, and in the end it's Ritchie ahead of Adomu, and Martinez, unfortunately, and agonising for him, drops outside the points. But what a fight between Benham and Statue Lake, and between these three. Action everywhere, Dan. It's been absolutely epic since the safety car pulled in. But Ronhart at the front, is that a decisive move in this race? The gap up to 1.1, and he's out of DRS territory. Is this the moment? Ronhart makes the run for it, but Benham doing just enough to get within DRS range. He'll need to stay there through that final sector if he wants a chance of winning this race.
It's going to be tricky for Jake Benham at this point. All that fighting with Piotr Stahalek has really come to the benefit of Thomas Ronhart. But again, Jake Benham is closing. If there's a will, there is a way. He cannot give up. He's still got 5 laps of racing
Just got
to close back up, as Lenny Papinta is beginning to close to the rear of Stahalek, who I think is beginning to feel the age of his tyres ever so slightly, even though they're not much worse as yellow flags in sector 3. That's Jack Laverty around his teammate of Lenny Papinta is looking to close onto the rear of Piotr Stahalek as they begin lap number 23. But the DRS train once again coming into full effect. I don't believe a move can be made. What about Josh Adowu? He goes around the outside of Jeffrey Ritchie.
Yeah, it does. It's all happening there, and Tom Martinez is overtaken as well by Jeffrey Ritchie in the background. Shinaka Clay's made his way quietly up to 7th place, as Nicholas Longue is also making moves too. He's up to 6th as well, so plenty of action out there at the minute as Tom Martinez scraps away for those final few points. He's getting 2 at the minute. Jake Benham gets to within 8/10, so he has levelled out. He's got within range of Ronhart. He will get DRS this time round if he can stay within range, but this is where the dirty air will hurt you in this middle sector through the medium speed, and there you go. It goes up to 9.5/10. He needs a really good couple of corners to get that DRS and then start mounting an attack. And you know what? I think he's managed it. He has managed it. He should now get the DRS, and there you go. It is active for him. You can see it on the telemetry. So now he can start to close in, and maybe, just maybe, before this race is over, Ronhart will have to fight right to the end for his first win in Tier 1.
I'm really liking the look of this. Of course, both of these drivers champions last season on PC for Jake Benham and Thomas Ronhart on the Xbox, now meeting in Tier 1 on this sacred Sunday night, where you can of course catch WOR Tier 1 PC every single week. Jake Benham is not close enough, I'd imagine, to go for a move this time by on Thomas Ronhart, but he is certainly beginning to close that gap, and Thomas Ronhart might be feeling the pressure ever so slightly, and this is where DRS is going to be strongest for Jake Benham, because of course it is one of the longest straights on the F1 calendar. But I don't believe he is going to be close enough to actually launch an assault, possibly next time by though.
Yeah, Benham, he's did what he's had to do. He's built himself a platform as Stachulek is a little bit squirrely at the rear of the car, but Pinter will not get close enough though as we lose Laverty, and it's in the pit lane. I wasn't sure if it was going to be on the track and bring out another late safety car, although it is a bit late to bring one out. Shinaka Clay very close to the back of Joshua Dowu in the battle for 7th and 8th as well, but Benham doing what he had to do, get within DRS and then give yourself half a chance at winning this Grand Prix. He's done it, the hard work. Now he's got to get close enough to make the move, and that is no easy feat either against Thomas Ronhaar, who's been in sensational form since the start of the weekend here in Sochi. Very, very quick in qualifying. The man to beat in Q2, the man to beat in Q3, and now he really is looking strong as Luke Smith picks up a penalty. It's not been the fine day for him as Benham gets ever closer to the back of Ronhaar. We wait to see when he thinks about making that move. Is the champion going to steal it as Longy steals 5th place from the padman Louis Welsh, and he'll try and fight back on the exit, but Welsh has lost out on this occasion.
Absolutely, Louis Welch shuffled down into 6th position. Nicolas Longuet still trying to make his charge up the order, but Jake Benham, he could be within territory of striking on Thomas Ronhaar, but I'd imagine he's going to want to wait for a good few laps until the very end of this race. We've still got 3 laps of running left in this Grand Prix, so Jake Benham's not going to throw everything at Thomas Ronhaar just yet. Both of these guys are on similar levels of ERS with about 20% apiece. What about Lenny Papinter? He's on 60% actually, closing to the rear of Stachulek, so that could be the main fight at the moment, as Jake Benham just conserving at the moment, still trying to close to Thomas Ronhaar, but it's not enough at the moment.
Yeah, it's a game of chess out there. They're waiting for the opportune moment here at Sochi, and just like we saw in Imola last week, we're going to have a tactical battle right to the end of the Grand Prix as Luke Smith now retires from the race. This is quite incredible how many cars we've lost from this Grand Prix. That's now 8 drivers on the sidelines, a safety car in there as well. It's a real shame. Luke Smith now onto the sidelines. We've only got 12 runners left, and it looks like 10 of them are going to pick up some World Championship points. But who's going to come out on top at the sharp end of the action? That's the big question. Joshua Dowu is also quite close to coming back at Shinaka Clay, who might be about to relinquish his championship lead. It remains to be seen if he will relinquish that championship lead. But Lenny Papinter closing on Stachulek as well, as Jake Benham gets within 2.5 tenths almost of the race lead. What a battle this is. There's so much behind this story. It's epic. You've got the champion of Xbox against the champion of PC. Ronhaar, who's never won in PC. He's came into PC this year, onto PC, and he's showing that he can compete against the best on this platform. It's been quite sensational. But Jake Benham showing his class, showing that he's not going to give up on this one and making it very, very difficult for Ronhaar. Your first win in the top tier in PC is always the hardest, and Benham is trying to ensure that it's not going to be today for Ronhaar. Benham gaining and gaining down towards turn 1. We're on the penultimate lap. He's not close enough to make the move though, and you feel it's all building up for a final lap showdown, Dan.
He's going to try and build up this climax as best he can. Thomas Ronhaar, probably to the annoyance of himself at the moment. Jake Benham has been able to conserve the ERS, conserve the battery, and use that to the best of his advantage. Now he's got 33%, and he's closer than ever to Thomas Ronhaar, as you mentioned, has not won in PC Tier 1 on the PC platform, but this could be the day. Jake Benham is going to make sure that it isn't, and that he comes out on top for the first time in this new season. A new era of WOR has begun, as off the exit of turn number 10, Jake Benham is pretty far back on this occasion, and I think he's actually lost some time. Lenny Papinter, meanwhile, in behind is looking to make the move stick on Piotr Stachulek. He's gone around the outside there, and it has worked out for him, but now, at the top of the order, they're about Longy.
Yeah, incredible. He's up the inside there. Going through that section. He's also managed to get through on Stachulek, and Longy bringing himself into contention for what did seem like a really, really unlikely podium. So it's all taking shape here in the fight for P3, but we need to go to the front because this is what it's all about. So then, lap 27 out of 27, the final lap of this Grand Prix. Thomas Ronhaar leads this race. The man that has won the Xbox Championship against the man who's won the PC Championship on the final lap. Ronhaar never won in PC Tier 1. Can he win tonight? As Jake Benham has been gathering up his ammunition, gathering up some battery. He's got 30% left. What has Ronhaar got left? We'll find out in a minute as Benham gets ever closer. What a climax we have here in Tier 1 on Xbox. Ronhaar then, he's only got 22% left. What has he got to defend with? Is Benham also now down to 22% left? It's going to be a level battle between them. We've lost Sam McBride, disqualified, failed to use both compounds of tyres. That's a bit of a rookie error from him. We're down to 11 runners here at this incredible race in Sochi. Jake Benham with a little bit of a slide there. A bit of a slide. Is that his final chance gone? Has Thomas Ronhaar fought his way to victory here? He's not had it all his own way. He's had to battle in the closing laps here, but Benham has got nothing left. He's on the ragged edge, and Ronhaar, I think, has seen off the final battle. Pinter picks up a penalty. That seals his fate against Nicholas Longy, but Benham will try everything he can to get close enough to Ronhaar. He almost tried to scare him up the inside, but there's surely no more places he can make the move, and it looks like it's job done for Thomas Ronhaar. He came into this race tonight as a reserve, and he showed his class in qualifying. He was the only man that got through in Q2 on the medium tyre by the skin of his teeth, and now, despite a late race safety car trying to cause some havoc, he's held his nerve. Thomas Ronhaar comes round the final corner and takes the victory in Tier 1 on PC. What a win. He holds off Jake Benham. Longy scrambles across the line ahead of Pinter for third, and it's Stachulek fourth. Pinter fourth, Stachulek fifth, Idowu sixth, Shanaka Clay seventh, just ahead of Louis Welsh in eighth, Richie ninth, and Leroy Brown completes the top 10. But well done to Thomas Ronhaar. What a win for him, Dan.
Absolutely, the chat is loving it. What a performance from the Aston Martin car, taking his first win in PC Tier 1, and a deserved one at that, as he comes across the line to take the win, and he stands atop the podium today. A really impressive performance, and I believe the Dutch nation going to be proud of him. Possibly the next Jan Ortmir, but you know what? I prefer the next Thomas Ronhaar to another Jan Ortmir, because this man is creating his own legacy, and it all starts here in WOR Tier 1.
So impressive from Thomas Ronhaar. We've had 3 races now in WOR. We've had 3 different winners. It is really turning into an exciting season. What a race, what a battle. And it's Thomas Ronhaar who takes the victory here for the Russian Grand Prix. Superb stuff. He beats Jake Benham then by 0.8 of a second, who came through from 12th. The strategy went well for him after the safety car. It's a French 3-4 as Nicholas Longy sees off Lenny Pinter for the champagne. Stachulek is 5th with Josh Idowu in 6th. Shanaka Clay 7th and Louis Welsh in 8th. Jeffrey Ritchie 9th and Leroy Brown completes the top 10. Tom Martinez, the last of the finishers, in P11th. And we gutted not to get points. There are all the drivers that failed to see the checkered flag. What a race. We've got several in there. Luke Smith and, so on and so forth. Incredible stuff. But let's jump back in to the intermission screen and have a chat about that. Thomas Ronhaar, we spoke about it after Q2, Dan, where he qualified and got himself through on the medium tyre. He then showed on the soft tyre his pace in Q3. And then, it worked out for him because the strategy he chose, he lucked into it because of the safety car. But, because he chose that strategy, it worked for him, and he deserved that, didn't he?
Absolutely, and the luck is no discredit
Of
to
course.
what Thomas Ronhaar could achieve. Really impressive stuff from him, and he's got to be proud about that one. Hopefully, we can get him in for an interview. That would be really lovely to talk to him about. But what a win for him today, and also credit to Jake Benham for giving it all he had, because he was a long way back. He was outside the DRS. He had to give it everything to catch to the rear of Thomas Ronhaar. Maybe 1 or 2 more laps, we could have seen Jake Benham standing at the top. But of course, it was not meant to be. It's a 27-lap race for a reason. And out of those 27 laps, Thomas Ronhaar came out on top.
I'm really impressed, Dan. I'm really seriously impressed with Ronhaar. He's only just moved across now to this PC platform. There's a lot of drivers knocking on the door of esports and any esports teams that that have been on the fringes and been in esports for a while now, and this guy's just coming along, and I've got to say he's outshining some of them. He is with performances like that, and there's a reason why Veloci signed him, and this is a rapid rise now. This is very impressive. He's shown it now on a number of races here in WR. That fine performance in the opener, and then today to win. I mean, we said about luck there for the safety car. It wasn't luck. I'm wrong to use the word luck. But, even if there was no safety car, he was still winning that race, in my opinion. He was going to pick them off and win it. It was very, very impressive. So hats off to him. Jake Benham, again, showed his class outside the top 10 in qualifying. Knocked out by the likes of Ronhaar. But he fought back in that race there from, a second back. Knew what he had to do. Get within that 1 second and then make life difficult. He did make life difficult. But Ronhaar had the answers, and fair play to him. He really has shown what he's capable of there. What a victory, well done to him.
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree with you. I think he was going to win that race anyways, without the safety car, and he would have been quick enough. He showed he had the pace on the mediums to still keep with all the runners at the front, bar lap number 1, when he, of course, dropped off and out of the lead of the race. He managed to keep up with them throughout the entirety of their soft stint. And so when he would be on the soft compound tyre and they're all on used worn mediums, it would have been a piece of pie for him to go for those moves. Of course, that isn't the reality that happened. You can't just speak in all hypotheticals. You got to think in what has actually happened here, and that is Thomas Ronhaar making the best of the situation, qualifying on the medium compound tyre, which was where everything stemmed from. If he wasn't on the mediums, he wasn't going to win that race in the circumstances that he did. So I think all credit has got to go back to him.
Yeah, all credit goes to Ronhaar after that. That was so impressive from him. And, I expect to see more of this now. I want to see him in here every week because some great pace, some great quality shown from him again. What about Nicholas Longuet though? I mean, he was dealt a bit of bad luck qualifying on the softs, and then the safety car came when it did. But he battled through brilliantly, showed his class to get that 3rd place. Didn't look likely at one stage, but clinical moves. Shinaka couldn't quite make the same moves, and he'll move ahead of him now in the championship. I'm not sure if it's the championship lead. We may have to wait for those standings, but certainly moves ahead of his nearest rival after a good performance to pick up that P3. Did well, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, as you said, Nicholas Longuet, we'll use some blackjack terms here. He wasn't dealt a good hand, but he didn't fold at all. He kept going, and I do respect him for that. And in the end, he didn't come out on top, but there was a strong performance in there. It's I think the dealer just won out in the end, and of course, it was still a very mighty fine performance from Longuet. If I'm not mistaken, it should be the championship lead for him. If not, he'll be close to equal with Thomas Ronhaar. We'll need the proper standings for that, or maybe someone in the live chat who's working on the standings already to give us their help on that note. But yeah, nevertheless, Nicholas Longuet will be pulling ahead of Shinako Clay, and provisionally what we think should be the championship lead.
Yeah, he should be pulling ahead after that one, no doubt about it. Great performance. So who are you going then for your driver of the day? I think it's easy for me to pick. I'm going to go with, I think we're going to agree on this one. We don't often agree, you like to be the contrarian, but I think I'm going to go with Thomas Ronhaar. People in the chat, tell us who your driver of the day is. Again, I think most of you guys are going to go with Ronhaar. But of course, you're entitled to the opinion, let us know. But Dan, go on, tell us.
I mean, I guess I kind of I would go with Thomas Ronhaar.
Just go for it then. You don't have to say something different.
Okay, Thomas Ronhaar, 100%. He's my driver of the day. But there is full credit as well to Jake Benham, starting outside the top 10, managing to claw his way up the grid, and to fight with the leader right until the death of it. That is a spectacular performance from Jakey B himself, of course, our reigning champion at the moment. He's really getting his season underway. Of course, unfortunate in the first 2 races. I'm not too sure if he raced even in Imola, and if he did, then it wasn't the most electrifying performance from him. But of course, the bad luck came his way in Spa with the DSQ. So today in Russia, I feel it's a bit of a redemption for him, and hopefully he can get his defense underway.
Yeah, let's hope he can do that. Jake Benham, he needs to get up and running and really pushing on now in this championship, and that's a good 2nd place for him. I'm just having a look, Dana. Can you see anybody in the looking for a call for an interview? I don't think there is anyone at the minute appearing, which is a shame because I would like to have heard from Thomas Ronhaar, of course, the man, of course, that won an Xbox the championship and has come across on the PC and really showing his pace. But at the minute, it doesn't look like we are going to have anybody for interview, so I think we're going to wrap it up there then, Dan. I just want to say to everyone a big thank you for everyone that tuned in tonight. We did go through the 300 barrier I saw on live viewer, so that's great news for us. We're really kicking on now. I've kept an eye on the streams over the last few weeks, and you guys are continuing to show great support. The subs are going up, so be sure to give the video a like and subscribe as well. And it's great to see WOR continuing on that upward trend. So yeah, be sure to join us for the rest of the season. We've got myself and Dan here every Sunday night with the action here from 7 PM UK time. So be sure to leave a like, subscribe on the channel, and be sure to check us out on Twitter as well. As you can see, our tags down below, GingerAndyF1 and Danfield _. Is that 2 underscores or 1, Dan? I'm not sure.
I believe it's just the one, Danfield F1 _. Yeah.
Be sure to check us both out. I'm sure we'll be popping in some highlights of the action, some commentary highlights from the racing during the week and on our channels on Twitter. But for us, that's all there is to say tonight. It's time to wrap it up. It's a fantastic victory for Thomas Ronhaar in Sochi. He gets his first win in PC Tier 1. Well done to him, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
On his debut, Jarno Opmeer wins at Spa.
It's Martinez in Montreal. David beats Goliath.
It's a true underdog story. John Evans wins at Mexico.
And it's Super Sam Corby who takes the PlayStation Championship.
FRA Ronhaar takes his first WOR Championship. He is your Xbox champion.
And Jake Benham is a two-time WOR champion.
Stop it! Around the outside of the line. Shadow is contact again. Ronhaar is around.
Bethany, surely is going to win here at Abu Dhabi. He does.
16 races across 5 continents. From Brazil to Belgium and Bahrain to Britain. Soon this story starts. Across 3 platforms, hundreds will begin the quest. The quest in search of glory and the right to be called a WOR champion. Lights out, and we're racing in Season 12.